I haven't got my wee stand with me, so I need to use a bit of tape. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine, yes.
Good, mate, good. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, take your time. I got the homie with me.
What's that?
I got my girl with me.
Oh, brilliant, mate. Brilliant. I can hear you anyway. That's the main thing.
My four-legged girl.
Oh, brilliant, man. Hey, let me see if I get my mic.
Yep.
I'm saying my mic. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, I can hear you.
Happy days, mate. We're going to go live. Are we live already? Yeah. Welcome.
I'm not. Yeah, I think we are.
Okay, brilliant, mate. We'll just wait for our followers to come on. I'll
Yep.
just check
Just,
this.
I'm just gonna order. I'm just gonna order a coffee. Hi, can I get a mocha iced coffee with extra cream and extra sugar? That'll be all. That'll be it. Thank you. I just had to grab my coffee real quick.
We'll just wait for a few people to come on. Hope you can all hear me all right. If he's put a wee message up, guys. If you can, please let me know you can hear me all right. I don't have a microphone with me, so I'm just wanting to check the volume, check the sound. So if you can drop a wee comment, guys, please, if you're capable.
I'm still here. All right. There it is. Thank you.
2 seconds. Cheers, mates.
Awesome. Have a good day today. All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Mark's brother from the United States of America. My name is Dan, and that is Joga, the dog.
Thanks very much for coming on, mate.
Anytime.
So, you want to tell me what's going on in America right now and how you're feeling about it?
Well, what's going on in America right now is absolutely unbelievable. It's something that we never thought would even become close to happening again. If, thinking about 4 years ago and how the liberals and Democrats are acting, and Donald Trump won, and like right now, we're not just winning, we're killing it. He is killing it so far with his policies, with his executive actions. I mean, as you can imagine, everybody in the United States is excited except the far left lunatics.
Of course. Well, we've got the same far left lunatics over here. I don't know if you know, but Labour and Biden, they're basically the same. Because our Labour government was over there trying to help Biden win the election. And I think Biden's, it's not really Biden. Who's in charge of Biden? Who is it, Dan? It wasn't Biden that was in charge, was it?
No, it was not Joe Biden in charge. Everybody knew he was too old, demented, and senile. And anybody who has a dementia patient in their family knows they don't run nothing. They don't even know what time of day it is. But who was running the country was AKA the unelected bureaucrats, AKA swamp creatures. These people are unelected officials who violate our Constitution and pretty much just make it hard for us to live. Just like they do over there where you're at,
Yeah. So
you got these government actors, that are part of the World Economic Forum, and that's the only thing these liberals care about, or leftists. I don't know how they'd refer to in England, but in But in the United States, we call them liberals, although they're not even real liberal by definition. They're more progressive Marxists.
Yeah, yeah. So
You
can
know.
you give us guys, right? So us guys, we're all patriots, mate. Everybody that's on my to follow me, we're all patriots. And we're right wing. You know, we're not far right, we're not racist, you know what I mean? We're quite happy with
No,
immigration. You know what I mean? But
no, nobody's. See, that's the problem. Like, we're not racist and we're not far right. Like, I was a registered moderate Democrat pretty much my whole life until the
yeah,
Democrat Party pushed me away because they went so far left. Like, that doesn't align with my beliefs and views.
yeah, yeah. So
You
so
know, like they said.
can you tell us what it's been like for a patriot like yourself in the last 4 years?
Oh, okay. Well, a patriot like myself living in the United States the last 4 years. Well, I got to start with this. On January 6, 2021, just like thousands of other Americans, I showed up at the Capitol on January 6th. I've been under the FBI and DOJ investigation since. I've been harassed by the FBI pretty much anywhere I go. They knock on my door, find people that know me to try to ask them questions about me. And luckily, all the people I know are smart, and they told the feds, like, yo, we don't talk to feds. Like, sorry, we ain't got nothing to say to you. You know, and of course that pissed the feds off because, they think in their minds everybody needs to talk to them. Well, in the United States, we have something called our Fifth Amendment right to remain
Yeah,
silent.
yeah,
And that way there, if you exercise your Fifth Amendment right, if a police officer continues to ask you questions, technically they're in violation of your Fifth Amendment right. So the feds, once they hear that, they usually just try to hand you a card and say, oh, well, if you feel like talking, call us. So,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, so just like many other J6s, luckily for me, I wasn't treated as badly as some of them who were locked up for 4 years without
yeah,
charge in solitary confinement. Um, the civil rights abuses that went on with these investigations and trials was like the most egregious lawfare in the country's history. Like, you have federal judges and prosecutors telling defendants they cannot enter video evidence into their trials because it would have shown their innocence. They would have exonerated them. So
yeah, yeah,
instead, the federal judges said, you're not allowed to show that in court or to the jury. Now, why? Why would a judge who's supposed to be about the law with to tell a defendant they can not present evidence of their exoneration and innocence? That's not how the legal system here in the United States works. So
yeah,
as of right now, I mean, it was a hellish 4 years. Like, I couldn't stay at home. I had to constantly move around the country. Every week I'd have to move bounce somewhere else. I was living in tents in the woods. I was living out of hotels, out of cars and parking lots. And I couldn't feel safe being home because, I didn't want the FBI to come, flash banging and raiding my parents' house at 6 in the morning. That was
right.
the thing that worried me the most. Like, do what you're gonna do with me. Leave my parents out of it. They had nothing to do with nothing.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Because if they did that to my parents, all bets are off, and I would have been either killed by the police for defending my parents with violence and force,
Yeah,
or I would have been arrested and charged. So, it's been tough. It's been scary. You would never expect a presidential administration here in the United States, like the Biden administration, to come after us like, the scary monster Putin does to his people in Russia, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because exactly how the United States government and the Department of Justice under Biden was doing things is no different than Putin does in Russia or Kim does in North Korea. And that was the scary part
yeah,
because
yeah,
at the
definitely.
time, they got the ear of the media. The media, they're little lapdogs. So like Nancy Pelosi said, we put out lies to the media. They put out those lies to the people, and our people eat them up as truth.
Yeah. Well,
They
see,
call it the wrap up smear campaign, and this is what they do with all their political opponents. So
well,
so it was
well,
a scary time.
yeah. Well, over here, we had 3 little girls killed at Southport. Yeah, and then there was a free rat. But what they've done the same what they're doing with you. It's not the FBI, but more or less they're just going around lifting patriots. We've got loads of patriots. We've got a patriot in prison And all he done was say on the internet, I don't care what anybody says, that guy was a Muslim. Now that actual the guy that got convicted of the little girl, he was a Muslim, you know what I mean? And we've got guys in jail for saying the truth, you know? And
Yeah.
it is we
Well,
are
you
going
guys,
down the same
well,
road as you.
well, well, what was happening over here the past 4 years is now happening to you guys or anybody who speaks out against the grooming gangs or the rapists or the criminals. And now, if you speak out for them, you're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
How does that make any sense? And why
Well
are
we are
these people
we are protecting
protecting?
yeah,
Why
we are
are certain governments protecting these types of people? Like, where's the money? Like, follow the money. What are they getting paid to sell out their countrymen?
yeah. Well
To harm these illegal.
what about Elon Musk? What do you think of Elon Musk?
Well, everybody loves Elon. And as a matter of fact, Elon just made a tweet a couple of days ago saying how he is going to fully pay for all of Tommy Robinson's legal expenses.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
So,
Like
so
honestly,
that's good
Don,
because Elon got the money. Unlimited amounts of money. He's the type of man who can actually fight against these governments.
yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing, mate. No, I mean, we owe us patriots. Before I say any more, let me just go through and say hello to everybody.
Yes.
Wanda, Guns, Paul, Mickey, I know you're there. Hey, mates, I can't seem to scroll these. I can't scroll these for some reason. But thanks for all coming on, guys. Really appreciate it. But what I want to say, Dan, is like from our point of view, at the minute, we owe America so much. If it wasn't for Elon Musk and X and other Americans, you know who I'm talking about, all the Americans, all the YouTubers that are speaking out about Tommy Robinson, highlighting that he's a journalist and he's in prison, he's in solitary confinement. And like, I just want to say thank you from all the British patriots to all the American patriots. Thank you so much. But we still need your support. We still need
Oh,
help. Yeah, the Labour government are far left. You know what I mean? We are
yes.
going down socialist. You know, it's really bad. Like just like you have done in the last 4 years, and it worries me that whoever was running the show with Biden have now are now over here. You know, what I mean, that's what worries me, man.
Yeah.
Who
Oh,
do you,
yeah. No. And also, let me just add to that. Add to a point you made. It's not just Elon Musk over here that's speaking out for Tommy in his defense. It's also Tim Pool. Tim Pool from he's a big right wing. Well, I wouldn't even say right wing. He was more of a liberal, but now is a right winger because
that's the same as Rogan. Rogan was liberal. He was liberal. Joe
yeah.
Rogan. He's
Yeah,
totally
Joe
turned
Rogan
right.
as well. So like we got a lot of right wing influences like Tim Pool, Joe Rogan, a lot of others that are speaking out against this now. And it's funny because when they speak out against the grooming gangs, they'll get their whole comment thread gets full of white people from England saying, "Oh, you're a racist, and you're this, and you're that, and blah 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 blah." And it's like, why are you people protecting these? What happens if it's your daughters next? Are you gonna still feel the same? And that's what I
Yeah,
think. I think a lot of people in America and England, especially if you consider yourself progressive Marxist, nothing bothers you until it actually happens to you for it to
yeah,
become a big deal.
yeah. See,
You know?
we have towns now in England that if they're not majority Muslims or a majority foreigners from other countries or children from foreigners from immigrants from other countries, we've got cities around England now that have majority, and they've got like guys in Lord Mayor positions, and we've got that Khan in London. It's totally
Yeah.
destroying London. What
Yeah.
what
I
what
think
what
these.
do you think about all that? What do you think? And be careful what you say, obviously, mate.
Yeah. I think those people are working for the higher powers. I think because when it comes to those politicians, their policies doesn't affect them like it does us regular citizens. So
Yeah.
they don't have to deal with the crime and the brutality and the rapes and the murders. That's not their family that has to deal with it. It's us. So because of that, a big reason is they're blind. They don't really know how bad it is, and again, until they go through it themselves.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
of course, we got the World Economic Forum, who's pretty much probably running all these governments right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
What's his name? Klaus Schwab, the former
yeah,
Nazi youth. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, hey,
BlackRock.
everybody hates Nazis. Everybody hates Nazis, but yet they're all following this Klaus Schwab guy who used to
I
be a
heard that.
Nazi youth. His
And what
father
about
was a
BlackRock? BlackRock.
horrible, horrible. And it's funny because anytime we see employees of BlackRock anywhere in the States, we call them out. We ask them,
Yeah.
like, why are you destroying us? Like, why are you doing this? Who's paying you? What's the financial gain? Like, why are
Yeah.
you selling people out? Like, why are you buying up all our property so we Americans can't buy nothing?
Yeah. Well,
So, you know,
this Labour,
there's entities like that.
this Labour government have came in. They came in. They made promises, mate, and they broke quite a few promises. They went their fuel payments off the old. There was another thing, an insurance payment that was meant to go to a lot of women called the WASPy women, and they all promised that they would get their money, and then when they came in the power, they changed their mind. So like it's really bad, mate. It's like it is getting scary. A lot of people are worried. A lot of people are scared to come on the internet. A lot of people are, when you see Tommy Robinson getting locked up for a journalist being locked up in solitary confinement, it does worry people. And then
Well,
when people come out
it's
onto
not
the
just
street,
Tommy they're locking up.
but
They're
when people,
locking up innocent other people.
yeah, but when that's what I'm saying, when people come out on the street, what they done, right? So they cattled everybody. This is what a lot of people say, oh, we'll come out, we'll fight, there'll be a civil war. And I say to them, there is no civil war. I come from Northern Ireland, Dan. We've been fighting with the Polish
Yeah,
for years. You know what I mean? We've never
you
beat
know
them.
about Civil War.
Yeah, we never beat them. But what they're doing, they're just cattling people. So the cattle, it's like putting them all in groups so they can't get out. That's what cattling. You know what cattling means? You get that over there,
Yeah,
right? And then
not different terminology, but same situation.
yeah, and then they just go in and pick people off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like
yep,
you can't win. You can't win anything. You know what I mean? But we don't want to fight. You know what I mean? Nobody's wanting Labour in power. They're illegitimate. They're an illegitimate party, right? I swear to
yeah,
God, mate. I promise. If there was an election tomorrow, Labour would be finished. I give you my word, right? I promise you, mate. I've been following politics all my life. I can promise
yeah,
you, Labour Party and the Tories will never be in power in this country again. No, you know what I mean? But the problem we've got is we've got Nigel Farage in charge of Labour, but he's part of the establishment as well. He's not going to do what needs to be done. But
no,
there's nobody else, Dan. So everybody's telling me, what choice do we have? So we're going to follow Farage into another 4 years of nothing being changed, really. You know, he's not
yeah,
going to deport.
exactly.
We've got guys doing terrible things. I mean, horrific things. I've never heard things done like this ever in my life. Right? This is on the top level of horrific abuse on little girls, all under 16.
Yeah, human
And
rights violations as well.
yeah, yeah, but nobody's talking about deporting them, really. You know what I mean? As soon as you go to deport them, they've got lawyers and they're legal, right? They can't go back. They're either saying they're Christians or they're gay, and they can't go back to Iraq, Syria, or wherever because they'll be victimized. You know what I mean? And the judges, what does the judge
They'll go
do?
back to their countries. So you're saying is if they go back to their countries, they'll be victimized, but yet
Yes,
they can stay in your country and victimize you and your
yeah,
family and all your citizens. See,
yeah,
that's the problem. Like they don't use common sense. These politicians, and I'm hoping like when Donald Trump's in office, I hope people like Fajo over there starts to take his lead and starts to fucking govern like Trump. Because I
yeah,
think once he sees how good Trump can get things going and do things, I think a lot of right wing politicians are going to try to follow his lead. That's my hope anyway. But then again, like you never know with these people what's going through their heads.
Well,
You don't know what they got on them. Like
yeah,
a lot of them are being blackmailed. You know, a lot of these politicians are being blackmailed here in the United
yeah, yeah,
States because of people like Pete Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein.
yeah, yep,
I mean,
yep,
when J. Edgar Hoover started the FBI way back when, tactic was in order to make the FBI powerful, he needed to get dirt on every politician, and then he used it against them to get the power for the FBI. You know, he was as
yeah,
corrupt
yeah.
as it came.
Well,
But it just goes back. Like if you compromise and you got dirt on you, these politicians are going to do whatever they have to do so that doesn't get released, and that's fucking their citizens over.
Yeah, yeah. See, the problem we've got 4 years of Labour, and it doesn't matter if they get rid of Starmer. No, nothing like that matters because they're all the same. There's nobody that's going to change the direction that they're going in. They are going to keep bringing, and they're not. They're going to keep bringing. They call it irregular immigration. It's going to keep happening because they're going to get the votes from them. You see, that's what they're hoping for because they've lost complete trust from the British people. Complete trust, mate. You know what I mean? Our only
Yeah,
hope.
I just
Our
wanted
only hope.
I just wanted to respond to a comment from Palm. He
Yeah,
says, I can't see Farage going in the same way as Trump did on day one. Okay, our system is different, but still, even within the bounds of the UK system, I can't see it happening. Yeah, see, and I don't know too much about the UK system being American. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. And this is
yeah,
why
yeah.
my brother Mark teaches me. Yeah.
Great, 2 seconds. Great, guys. I can't see the comments. For some reason, the comments aren't coming up. Could you, if you want to ask Dan any questions, can you see the comments? All right, mate.
I could see a couple, yeah.
Great. So,
I'm trying to keep up with them, the
great.
comments.
If anybody wants to ask Dan a
But
question, batter in, ask him a question,
yeah,
anything at all. It's all good. But
yeah, I'm open to all questions. That's why we're here. We're here to
I'm hoping.
learn off of each other.
So in the last year, Dan, we've had an explosion of support for Tommy Robinson, an explosion, and thanks to Elon Musk. Honestly, mate. So what the problem we've got a problem over here, is our media keep keep on pushing the rhetoric that he's far right, he's racist, he's a criminal, right? So
Yeah.
we half the public, especially Generation X, the 50s and over, they're not on the internet. So they rely on Sky News, BBC News, Channel 4. They're all left wing, and the Guardian and all the newspapers. That's what they rely on to get their news. So what we're wanting to try and do is Tommy into politics. You know, people will support him. I believe in my heart, if Tommy gets the coverage that he deserves on the mainstream media, he could be the next prime minister.
Oh yeah. Well, I also heard Elon Musk is going to fund Andrew Tate's run for parliament or whatever it is you guys got there. Did you hear about
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
not. I'm not a
you
fan.
can
I'm
have
not a
your
fan.
feelings on it. Like Andrew Tate, I
I
like him.
know.
I don't mind him. You know
He's
what
all
I mean?
right.
But I liked him when he was. I liked him before he was outspoken. I liked him when he was a kickboxer. So I knew him from then, and then he just happened to transition into speaking out against this
Yeah,
nonsense.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But but the problem is with the media. If you look at all these media people, like the fake the fake analysts, the reporters, right up to the people that own these companies, they're all perverts. They all got something to hide, and this is why they try to label anybody like us who is this, that, and the other thing, because they're trying to speak out against these perverts. We know what
Right.
they
So
are.
talking about
They don't.
pervert.
We know what they
Talk,
are.
talking about pervert, Dan. So when my mum died, it was 1978, and Labour were in power, and there was a. We used to sing songs at the football match about the paedophile rings. Our government back in the 60s and the 70s was right with child abuse from the top end, the politicians, right across the board, judges, lawyers, you know, and there was a lot of children that suffered, and it all went
Hmm.
because who do you report it to? You know what I mean? MI5 and MI6, and this is one of the problems. They know everything that happened, right? It's because
Yeah,
and at the
they
end
know
of the day,
everything.
yeah, of course they know everything, but they protected them, and this is the problem. The problem we have
Yeah,
right now, we need working class men who don't have anything, any money, aren't millionaires, haven't got anything to be blackmailed with. That's the only people we can rely on. So we can't keep relying on the
yeah,
private school boys. Every politician we have comes from private school. They're all snobs. They
yeah.
have they don't
And
they
their
don't have,
family and their family members were at one point in time connected to somebody,
yeah, 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 of course, yeah,
like their parents or their grandparents.
yeah. So
You know,
that
it's the silver spoon.
Exactly. Aye. So we've got that problem where, like, it's all Labour, Conservatives. They're they're all together. You know what I mean? They're all in it.
Nope. Hold on. Let me I got some questions. Okay, Palm,
Yeah,
please lobby your congressman to help British people, not politicians. We are. That's we are. Oh yeah, we're speaking out for the voices of the British people and the citizens, not the illegals, not the the new welcome ease you guys, not you guys, but your politicians brought in, and definitely not your politicians. Politicians are scumbags. And also, John Rankin, Dan, are you coming over in September for Tommy Getting Out event? I'm gonna try. I do have a passport. So the past 4 years, whenever I tried to get on a flight, I got denied because of being at a certain spot on January 6th. But now, since President Trump pardoned us and also ended all investigations on us, I can now travel again. So I could probably make it there in September for Tommy's event. I mean, I
yeah.
got the money, so I got
Okay.
the
Well,
money.
you're
I got the
welcome.
passport.
Yeah, we've
You
got. You're
know,
more than welcome. You're more than welcome,
yeah,
mate.
and
All
I
you
got a
got to
place.
do,
And I was gonna say, I got a place to stay with Mark. So,
of course. Yeah, of course.
this is Mark. So everybody who don't know, Mark's my brother. We've known each other since like what, 2012, 2011,
Yeah. Yeah.
when
So
we
we
met.
ran out.
And that was
Yeah,
because, and how we met was because ISIS was running rampant. That's how me and
yeah.
Mark met.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like 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 peanut butter and jelly.
We were helping the
You
Kurds. We
know.
were helping the Kurds. You know what I mean?
Yes, we
Yeah.
were. Yes, we
And
were.
that's the thing. You know what I mean? The Kurds are Muslims. You know, it's like, it's there's a lot to it. It's like I done a video the other day about Pakistani. It's because it's predominantly Pakistani men that's doing the grooming. That's over here, right? That's
Yes.
I think it's about 80%. But I done a video about it. They're only from one side. See where they're from up. See where the Khyber Pass is next to Afghanistan. You've got it goes like that. Pakistan goes like that, and then up here you got
Yep.
Afghanistan here.
Afghanistan.
You got the Khyber Pass. Well,
Yep.
that's where they're all from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where
Oh
they're
yeah.
all from.
Well. Let me add to this like another thing, like from like before I met Mark, like probably I met Mark in about what 2011, 2012,
Yeah, yeah. It would be. Yeah,
roughly around that
yeah.
area. Yeah.
I
But
was, I
but
mean,
but what?
I was,
But
yeah,
but my background is that on 2001, September 2001, our World Trade Center was attacked, and then we all know the story there.
yeah,
So the next day, September 12th, I ended up at the Army recruiting station at 6 a.m. in the morning. Before they were even opened, I was waiting in the parking lot. And
yeah.
on that day, I signed up for the United States Army, and I spent from 2001 up until 2010 in the United States Army as a cavalry scout. And I deployed twice to Iraq and once to Afghanistan. So
Nice one, mate.
I know the difference between good Muslim people and the fucking shitbags.
Yeah,
Excuse my
yeah, yeah,
language.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I mean, and there's a lot of good Muslim people out there that are very peaceful, very loving. Very like, come in. Like even in America, some of my Muslim friends like, oh, come over. Oh, did you eat dinner tonight? Oh, if you didn't, come over. I'll feed you. And they're good people, and even they
Yeah,
speak out against these bad corrupt apples because they're sick of it. They're like, these people are giving not just us a bad name, but our religion a bad name. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and I'm like, it's true. So now a lot of Muslims around this country are starting to speak out against,
Yeah,
shit as well, and that's a good thing.
we've got quite a good number of Muslims starting to speak out. But you see, the problem is the guys that are coming in are the guys that the other Muslim countries don't want. They're guys with criminal records. They're really bad
They're the
guys.
criminals. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're the
yeah,
worst of the worst. It
yeah,
says
yeah,
in our countries. And that's the problem. And like, see, the thing in England is, I don't think you guys got a lot of freedom, but I don't think you have the type of freedoms we do here in the United States.
we
And I'm
don't.
going to explain. I'm going to explain why I say that is because here in the United States, if a gang, like a gang member or three gang members came to attack
Yeah,
me on the street,
boy.
by law I can defend myself and do whatever I need to do necessary to protect myself. So here in America, if somebody tries to jump me from a gang, I fight back,
Yeah, yeah,
because I know I can. because the police here, they're going to look at the gang members like, yo, those are the shitbags, and this citizen was defending himself, so we're going to take the shitbags and arrest them, even though the liberal DAs let them out of jail quick. So like here in America, we do have a right to defend ourselves. Plus, we do have the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
The Second Amendment. Let me tell everybody again. The Second Amendment is the most important right, other than the First Amendment, here in the United States.
Yeah, we've got.
And when people know Americans are armed, sometimes they think twice. Do I really want to fuck with this person? Do I really want to break into this one's house? Do I really want to drag that guy from his car? Because they might get shot if they try.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of us are armed. I think it's like 92% of the American population owns at least one firearm, including thousands of rounds of ammo. They were saying the American citizen owns more firearms and ammo than the world's 3 largest standing armies combined. Think about that.
Let me just do a security check, buddy. 2 seconds. I think they do a wee security check. Dogs are acting a wee bit strange.
Yeah, Palm. Yeah. It seems like that. No knife soon. That's all right. There's always baseball bats and hockey sticks. Also, you know what a nice self-defense weapon could be? A bottle of deodorant, like a spray can of deodorant, or a bottle of cologne that's sprayed. It works like mace. Yeah, exactly. They always find a way to ban things. Isn't that the funny stuff? Like anything we enjoy, they want to make a law against it. But
okay, mate, there's a dog's acting a bit weird because I'm on a live.
Speaking of dogs, Joe, say hi to the crowd.
Yeah, that's a big young, like, the big girl.
Oh yeah, she's a great dame. She's my best friend here.
How long have you had her?
That's my father.
Probably 5 years, 6 years you've had her?
She just turned, she turned 4 December 15th, so 4 years.
Yeah,
but still, I'm like, wow. I'm like, that 4 years went flying by, because I still remember when I picked her up, she was a little puppy.
Yeah.
And now she's 160 pounds. She actually weighs more than me. I'm 152 pounds.
Right.
She's 160. She's 160 pounds. Imagine, my dog's heavier than I am, because she's better than me too. Look at her, there it is.
Lightweight. Chill up.
Joga, does that look like your friend from the dog park, huh? Yeah, so Joga has a couple pugs that she hangs out with. It's funny because Joga will be walking, and the pugs will be following her, and like the size difference is like horse, little dog.
So do you carry all the time?
Yes, I do.
Most everybody like.
Yeah. Yeah. See, luckily for me, I got what they call here in the United States a Utah license. It's a license to carry. It's called a Utah license, and it covers me to carry in 32 states. So there's still some states like New York I can't bring my firearm to because of the laws.
Yeah, but you would. What's
and there's a couple.
New York, you know what I mean?
I don't go to New York City anyway. It's trouble there. It used to be cool, but now you go there, you have to fight and defend yourself. It's not worth it.
So New York. What happened in New York?
So even if I was to transport my firearm by law, like according to New York law, so if I wanted to drive through New York with my firearm, I would have to take my firearm and lock it in one lockbox. Then I'd have to take my ammunition and lock it in a separate and leave it in my trunk. But even if I still got pulled over by the New York cops and they searched my trunk, they could still possibly arrest me for it. Even though I'm still licensed and I can still transport.
Yeah.
But it all depends on what type of cop you get that day.
So New York. I heard that Biden was bussing immigrants in at 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock at night. Is it really bad in New York now?
It was It was horrible. It wasn't just New York. He was doing it here. See, where I live in Massachusetts. I live about 6 miles north of Boston, and they were doing it to my city here in Woburn.
What was
I
it
live in
like?
a city called Woburn,
Woburn,
Mass.
yeah, I know Woburn. So what was it like? Well,
Yeah,
tell us what it was. What's it? How bad was it? And why were they doing it?
it was bad because it's like, they first off they bust these people in, they just dump them in front of hotels, you know, and then from there, where do these people go? They don't have anywhere to go, so they start roaming the streets. What do they do when they get hungry? They start stealing from stores. What do
Yeah,
they do if they see an American with some nice clothes or sneakers or jewelry? Oh well, I want that. I don't
yeah,
have that, but I want that, so I'm going to take it from this person. So robberies went up. They were going into the supermarkets, filling up shopping carts full of food, and then just running out the stores with them. You
yeah.
know, gangs of them, like 10, 12, 13 people at a time. Now,
We've got
if
that.
you go to
We've
our
got that. We
yeah, like
have
our
that.
groceries, yeah, so like in our supermarkets and grocery stores here, most of the employees that work in these places are elderly and retired because it's easy jobs for them.
Yeah.
So like they ain't gonna be able to stop these people. Like, so
So
they just fucking load up carts and scram.
what concerns me, right, to be honest with you, mate, see what I'm seeing? I'm seeing thousands of fighting age men coming to this country. And like, there's no two ways about it. Nearly all the hotels, I don't know how many it is, you know what I mean? And neither giving them houses. But my point is, right,
Yeah, that's the big problem. What they were doing there, they were kicking American homeless veterans
yeah,
out of their places of shelter that they earned for fighting for this country, getting kicked out of these places for the immigrants to move in. Now I go to the VA for my medical, the Veterans
yeah,
Affairs for my medical. It's the VA hospital where all our veterans go. Now I went there for my scheduled appointment about a month ago, and I got there. My appointment was for 1:30. I got there at 1. I checked in. Next thing I know, I'm sorry, we got to cancel your appointment and reschedule it. And I'm like, why? Next thing I know, I see two tour buses full of illegals coming in. Oh, because we got to give them medical treatment first. I said, wait, did they fight for this country? Did they earn for this country?
yeah.
Are they all scot up for this country? Like, fuck that. No. But
No,
yet I
no.
had to miss my mental health appointment for PTSD, which is serious,
Yeah.
so these people could get their medical treatment. Like, no, so that was a problem. And again, they're kicking us out of the hotels for them. They're
Yeah.
kicking single mom, American citizen moms out on the streets so they can harbor and house the illegals. And the funny thing is, under the United States federal law of harboring, aiding, and abetting, what these governors and city officials are doing is against the law, and they should actually be arrested for it. Because
The, the, the,
if I was to harbor known illegal immigrants inside of my house and I got caught, I would go to jail, federal jail,
yeah.
not state,
Yeah.
not county, but federal prison, because
Yeah.
of I violating federal law.
Well, I
So why
think.
can the politicians do it?
Yeah, well, that's exactly. I honestly think that there's people in this country, politicians, people at the top, that need to go to jail because you got to
Yeah.
understand. We had 1,400 children in one city, mate. They're talking the figures. They're talking it's 250,000 children that's been affected by these men have come into the
That
country.
that 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 right there is just disgusting. Like, how could
You
this
can,
happen? How?
yeah, you can see how small England is, mate, compared to America. We're not a big country, you know what I mean? But
Well,
what I'm trying to say is, all these thousands of these young fighting age men are coming here now. It's not about
good point.
racism.
Fighting age. Good point. You said it yourself. Fighting aged men, just like all the men, fighting aged men that were coming up to our southern border from all the South American countries.
Yeah, but
Come to find out, they're all gang members.
what I'm trying to say is, like, these young guys are full of testosterone. You know what? Young guys, 20s, 30s, or all they're thinking about is girls and sex. Now, if our girls don't fancy Eritreans, or they don't fancy people from Pakistan, or they don't fancy Afghanistan guys, what
Or if they
what
don't
do they
even
do?
fancy us, like that's the thing. Like, we all love women. I do. I'm 44
Yeah,
years old. I still love the muff. I still chase it
yeah,
around. But here's the
yeah.
problem. If they tell me no, that's what it is. And then I move on to the next woman and say, hey, maybe I'll be lucky there. But I don't go around. We don't go around forcing ourselves upon
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the difference. We have morals. It all comes down to morals. You know what I mean? Morals from within ourselves. And some of these people, they were never raised to know what were right from right, what right and wrong is. So they, they did. So from their very upbringing, they've already lost. Is how I see it. They're already set up to fail by their own parents, grandparents, and coaches. You know, and that's how I kind of see it.
The culture is quite extreme. You've been in Afghanistan. I've seen the videos. I've seen the videos like with donkeys. It's quite bad.
Eddie Cool. I gotta answer Eddie Cool, and I'm sure like us, you don't chase children. No, there's strict laws about that. Now, like me, I'm 44. I at least the youngest. Like I actually just met a woman about a month ago, and we were talking for a couple of days. She had 2 kids, single mom, very beautiful, and and then finally I said, how old are you? And she's like, oh, I'm 26. She was young, and I'm like, but for me, I'm like, even though that's young, I'm like, well, she is a single mom raising them on her own, so mentally she's there. But usually, but for me, like I'm 44, so I try not to go lower than like 34. If I'm gonna try to be in a relationship, so I try to keep it within like a 10-year. 54 for I date a 54-year-old woman down to a 34-year-old woman. Because that's and I'm in between. I'm 44.
What about kids?
But like even with the young, what happened?
What about children? You gonna have any children? You think about having any children, or you just?
Well, Mark, you're an inspiration for me because you had a child.
Yeah.
How old are you?
55. 55.
Exactly.
56 neighbor.
You gave me inspiration because once you had your baby daughter, I said, you know what? I'm not too old yet. I still got time. Thank you. So you know what?
You just got to look after yourself, man. Wee bit. You do like.
I got to find the right woman, and I'll definitely be up to having a child. But then again, like I also had my ex-girlfriend who had 5 kids, and they're still like my kids. I was a part of their lives, their whole upbringing. So like they're not mine, but they are mine.
Yeah. Of course.
I'm still daddy. I'm still daddy. I still do whatever I can for them. Educate them, help them with their schoolwork. Buy them things if they do their chores and stuff. Bring them places.
Yeah.
So they're like my stepkids.
So I hope you don't mind me asking. So the PTSD. Can you tell us some of the downsides of life, what you deal with because of it? From a soldier point of view, sort of thing, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's just you feel guilty sometimes. It's guilt, it's regret. It's could I have done better? What should I have done better? And then it's like sometimes you act out and you hurt the ones you love and the people that are closest to you that are there for you. And that's the worst part about it is like if I act out and I end up hurting the people closest to me or that are there for me. Like that's the worst part about it for me because they don't deserve it. And also I should know better. And that so when that happens, that really gets to me. Like that really brings me down.
So
makes me feel shitty.
I take it that pushes you into solitary where you just like I do. You just stay by yourself. So when you're bad, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta, get the cannabis out, and that helps. And then, I take a couple medications, that helps too.
Yeah.
And but lately, as I get older, it does get better. It does get better.
I think talking about it, trying to.
I mean, like when you, you've done your time, incarcerated, right?
Yeah.
And when you got out, you'd wake up at night thinking you were still there, right? Sometimes, and you get that anxiety, when you first wake up and you're like, oh wait, I'm not in jail no more. I'm not over here no more. And you gotta calm yourself down, or it's stuff like that. It's no different than the anxiety, stress, and PTSD you guys go through when you're incarcerated. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's all the same feelings and emotions. It's just different situations on how we got there.
yeah, yeah. Of course.
For the PTSD. But like I say, like, hurt is hurt. It's the same feeling for everybody. There's no difference for anybody. If you're hurt, you're hurt. If you're happy, you're
I'll tell
happy.
you. Just as we're talking about PTSD, but I want to tell you about Tommy. Just a wee thing about Tommy. It's just to let you know how bad the government actually are. So, like, I can't remember what he's been in jail 3 or 4 times now, and one of the times, I'm sure it was Belmarsh. Um, they put him in the cell, and then there was four Muslims in the cell, right? Obviously, they beat him. They give him a really bad beating. Really bad beating. I don't know. A lot of people. I try and talk about it to people about what it's like, what that feeling's like whenever, like walking in this cell, four guys that want to kill you. So
That
you
you
know they
know,
want to
that you
kill you.
already know that hate you just because it's you. You
Yeah,
know. You
yeah,
know they did that on purpose. You know that the COs of the guards did that on purpose
yeah. But the
to
thing
make
is,
his life
Don,
hell.
the thing is, they put him back into that prison this time. Can you imagine what that's like? Where that because that's trauma. Getting beat, fighting for your life. That
That's
boy fought
torture.
for his life.
No,
And
that under the Geneva Conventions, that would be considered torture. What they're doing to
yeah,
Tommy. So
100%, mate, 100%. And
but why did he able to stand? Where's the Geneva Convention when it comes to human rights violations like this?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
Tommy's human, not just his civil rights and liberties, but his human rights have been violated.
yeah,
His
yeah,
God-given rights have been violated, and that's a problem.
yeah. Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. Like, the, I worry that that's the whole point of prison is so he gets attacked. Like we've had this. We've had the BBC came out last week saying that there's guns in the prison. In quite a lot, in quite a lot. They're bringing drones because our prisons, there's everything in our prisons. I mean, every drug you can
Well,
get.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Americans too. Like America's prisons, it's no different than being on the streets. You can get
yeah.
whatever you want: cell
When
phones,
I was in,
drugs, cigarettes.
when I was in
You know,
shots, we were getting there was
heroin.
9 bars and phones. Anything you wanted was there.
Yeah,
And you could get more stuff. You could get more stuff inside than you could on the street. That's what some guys used to say.
it's true. You can get it easier too. You can get it easier, and most of the time it's the guys that are bringing it in.
Yeah. So
You
my
know,
what,
it's the
what
guys that are
I'm
bringing it
really
in.
I'm really worried that like Tommy's in a really vulnerable position. As far as I'm concerned, Tommy right now is in the most dangerous position he can ever be. You know, it's
Yes.
like, I know the prison. I know how the prison works. I know what prisoners can do, especially organized prisoners, because they're all organized. It's like a Muslim
Yeah.
Brotherhood
They're all
sort of
gangs.
thing. Yeah,
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 they're all gangs in there, just like
yeah,
you.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. And it
That's
worries
why
me
it's kind
because
of like you hear in American prisons. It's like, you could walk in the prison just a normal dude, but within 3 days of being there, or first, like in American prisons, you'll go in, they'll put you in like Newman's is what they call for 2 weeks, where you get used to shit. Then they'll put you behind the wall or on the floor with all the rest of the prisoners. But like within 3 or 4 days, you realize like I can't stand here alone. I got to join the white supremacist gang because that's the only chance I have to survive. Because if not,
yeah,
all the
yeah,
other
yeah,
colored gangs and nationality gangs are gonna fucking try to get me. And I can fight, but there's only so much I can do. I can't fight off
yeah,
of
yeah,
automatic.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Give me an up and up. I'll be confident up and up against the toughest dude because I know my skill. But when it comes to 3 or 4 dudes that go against me, it's like, I'm not invincible and I'm not Superman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course. Is there much violence in the jails in America?
Yeah, oh yeah, like yeah, it's pretty much like yeah. You get stabbed like it's a stabbing spree in the jails here. Everybody
Yeah,
just wants to stab everybody, and mainly now they do it because they want to make a name for themselves. You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? So yeah, they're pretty violent here. I mean, for the most part, depending. It really depends on the area and state and whether it's county, state prison or federal. And believe it or not, like federal prison's really violent, but the worst
yeah,
are the county jails. Everybody that's in county jail is just there waiting for their trials and stuff. So they're out of their minds. And plus,
yeah,
in county jail, 9 out of 10 times you're going to know a lot of people who know a lot of people, and this crew of people might not get along with your crew of people,
Yeah.
so that could raise problems with inside too.
How long do you normally do before you get a chance to go to trial or get sentenced or plead guilty? How long are you talking in remand?
It all depends. I mean, they could either revoke your bail altogether till trial, depending on if you're a flight risk, if you're a danger, and so on and so forth. Or, they could set, depending on what you did, they could say, okay, well, if you can come up with $1,000, we'll bail you out, in an hour or two. Or they can hold you till the next day. You go to a court hearing, and the judge
Yeah.
could be like, okay, we're going to release them on pretrial detention, which means, you can go home, but you got all types of stipulations you got to follow. While you can, before your trial. So
you're talking
it's
months or
different.
years? Months or years? Like, would you wait? Would you wait years?
Well, I mean, my buddy of mine, when we were growing up, when we were 18, we got into a beef. It was like it was like 5 of us against 5 of them.
Yeah.
And one of the kids on their side got beat pretty bad with a monkey wrench, and that's So my buddy Stevie, he wasn't the one who did it, but yet he was held in Cambridge Jail, which is a county jail here in Massachusetts. He was in there for almost 3.5 years before they let him out. And they didn't even end up charging him with anything after the fact.
Yeah.
So he got held for 3 years with no charges just to be let out. Like,
Yeah, well,
it all depends. And plus, you got to understand, we have a very corrupt judicial system here. Like, Lady Justice would be devastated to see how the judicial system went
we're the same.
here in America.
We're the same. Our judges are controlled. Our judges, like, we had hundreds of guys just go straight through the system, plead guilty. I don't know. They all pled guilty. I think they were. I think they were terrified into, like, you're going to get 2 years, but if you don't plead guilty, you're going to get 5 years. And their lawyers have said, plead guilty.
Well, that's what they were doing to a lot of the J6 defendants. They were saying, hey, you're being charged with misdemeanor trespassing charges, but if you don't plead guilty, we're going to hit you with an obstruction charge, which carries 20 years in federal prison.
Yeah.
Of course, what are you going to do? Fuck yeah, I'm going to plead guilty. I'm going to plead guilty to the misdemeanor that carries 30 days in prison, rather than the obstruction that carries 20 years. Like, they do that. But the Supreme Court came out and ruled that obstruction charge they were using was unconstitutional. So once again, the government got busted violating the law by trying to charge people who wouldn't plead guilty with that. It's called lawfare here in the United States. And they were only using it to target, their political opponents. But I did have a couple cases. I got into a fight here once when I was a little younger, and they were trying to do the same, like, just plead guilty to the simple assault, and we'll give you probation. But if not, we're going to add extra charges on you, which will end up, like, I think it was like 2 years in jail. But luckily, at the end of the day, he pled the Fifth Amendment. I pled the Fifth Amendment, so they had to just drop the case altogether. So, luckily he came out and actually helped me out and kept me out of, trouble. Because he knew, he's like, we got into an argument. We're friends. We just had a little much to drink, got into an argument, scuffled, and, I'm going to plead the Fifth. So the judge's like, okay, well, I have no case here. You both can go home. And guess what? We both left the courthouse, jumped in my car, and rode up a big fat bone and smoked it and laughed. So,
So are you anywhere near the fires?
What happened?
Are you anywhere near the fires in America right now? New York? Is that Hollywood? No, Los Angeles?
Yeah. No. Los Angeles is on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Massachusetts, right north of Boston.
Right.
And but it's funny because when I work, like, let me show you my work truck. You're gonna like this. You're gonna like this one, Mark.
It's frozen. I think you're back. You're back.
I got me a Sprinter van. So that's what I do. So I pick up a couple pallets here and there and just deliver them all throughout the country.
Yeah. What about
Good job. So
what about
so it's like basically I
What
say
about
I'm not.
what about the road rage when
What
you're
happened?
driving about? Is it bad over there?
No, no, mine isn't because driving for me is
Oh,
it's common, it's soothing, it's like it's what I like to do. So like for
yeah.
me, it's great. Plus I got my
Oh,
dog with
yeah, yeah.
me, and I got my pot. I get to travel the country and see everything. So like people ask what I do, and I'm like, well, if you know what a 18 wheel or a bigger truck driver does, I'm just a midget version of that.
Yeah,
Because I got a van. But I do what they do. I just got a van, so I'm the midget. I'm like the little cousin.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, see, just you give me an idea. I was thinking about. Do you know? Remember? Do you remember us we talking about the H blocks, the maze, the big prison in Belfast?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's got the H's. It's like the H's. Like that.
yeah.
Well, years ago, the IRA broke out. They broke out. Jerry Kelly was one of them, and they got them in Amsterdam. They got them in Holland, right? And they extradited them back. But they said the Dutch government said to the British government, "We're only going to extradite them back if you drop the charges that they were in for." So the guys were in for murder, right? Fair play, you know what I mean? The guys were in for murder.
Yeah.
They broke out, and then they went back. So I was in jail. I was in with them. Fucking used to walk by me, Jack. They used to all wear white vests, blue jeans, and brown Moses sandals. At that, they all wore the same clothes. And so they were on remand for 2.5 years.
Hmm.
2.5 years they were on remand, and they
Before they
ended
got
up.
caught.
Yeah, after when they brought them back to Britain, the Northern Ireland, they were on remand for 2.5 years, and they got
Wow.
5 years for breaking out of the maze and were released. They were released.
Imagine,
Brilliant,
imagine
eh?
that. That's what the government, the Biden Department of Justice, and all these George Soros funded prosecutors and attorney generals of the states have been doing. An immigrant can murder and rape a woman, and they'll let them out of jail. It's like how? But yet, if I was in a certain state that doesn't allow you to smoke marijuana legally, I'd get arrested and thrown in jail for a year.
Yeah,
But that same state would allow some child rapist to get bailed out the next day and then flee in the country, take up a new name, and never show up to court.
yeah.
Like it's half-assed backwards. It's weird. But then again, we also know George Soros is funding this dysfunction. This is how he's going to destroy our countries from within. Is using his
So,
money for people in the places of power that's going to follow him. Because once George Soros pays these politicians or
yeah,
contributes to their campaigns, he owns them.
he,
They're under his control now.
he's funding Antifa. We've got Antifa over here. They are a problem. They're not a big problem, and they are declining. They are getting smaller. How big is Antifa, and how dangerous are they in America?
Well, they used to be big the first 4 years of Trump. Like I used to be a member of the Proud Boys,
Yeah,
and so like I went from Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington D.C., New York City, and Boston, and we used to kind of fight the Antifa. So like
yeah,
if you ever seen the videos of like the Proud Boys getting
yeah,
into massive brawls against Antifa in
yeah,
Seattle, that was
yeah.
I was part of that. And but right now they're not a problem anymore because we pretty
Well,
much handled it. I mean, they're still around, but they're not. They know better now because they know we ain't fucking around. Like
yeah.
now,
See,
Trump's
you've
back
got
in.
that.
We're gonna put the fucking boot down.
No, you've got that, mate. I see. That's what we don't have that. So basically, what would happen if we were, say, it was a Tommy Robinson rally and Antifa came down and we started fighting, the police would
You
attack
get in
us.
trouble.
They would
Yeah,
attack us.
yeah.
That's where we're at right now. You know, But-
That's what was happening a lot with us too. Like the police would be favorable to protecting them rather than us. But a lot of the cops would say it's because, well, if we let you guys get at these other guys, like you're gonna hurt them bad, so we gotta protect them. Like,
yeah,
don't take
yeah,
it personal. We're not here to against you, but we know you'll put a hurt in these wimps, so we gotta protect them because these kids are wimpy. Like I was in the front lines against Antifa, and I remember there was 5 of them in front of my face, and it was like bang, 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 all cold on the ground, and I didn't even use full force, and
yeah,
they were
yeah, yeah.
hitting me with fucking sticks and
Well,
shit, and I was just like bang, bang, bang,
yeah. Well,
and
that's
I'm
the
like
same.
what?
Ours are our Antifa are mostly students, and they're
Yeah,
the
yeah, wimps, Student, they're rich, college-educated wimps. Never been in a fist fight in their life. Don't know the first thing of taking a punch to the face, a kick to the nuts. They don't know about struggle. They don't know about sacrifice. They don't know what it is to go hungry on a fucking daily basis growing up. They don't know what it's like to live from a less poor mom would. My mom used to have food stamps, and they literally came in a book looking like stamps, and they'd be like $1 stamp, $2 stamp, $5 stamp. See, these kids, these Antifa rich kids don't know about struggle. They don't know about life struggle.
When I was at home, I done a speech at home. I don't know if you've seen it. It's in my library on YouTube.
No, sorry, I watched it.
Yeah,
I watched it. I was proud of you.
Yeah, and I was like, I addressed them. I addressed them. And at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is protect our kids and protect our religion, our churches, our culture. You know what I mean?
Mark, let me interrupt for a minute because I think it's a very important point for me to bring up here.
I'm going to put the kettle on. Don, keep talking. I'm going to put I can hear you. I'm just going to grab the kettle.
Yep. So I'm going to talk to everybody who's listening in the comments. So it's a very important fact. I myself don't identify as Christian or Catholic. I myself identify as a Norse heathen. And don't get me wrong, I do believe in Jesus Christ and God, and I do believe the powers and the magic and the miracles they do bring. But for somebody like me who's lived a violent, rough life, I had to adapt gods that were more suited to violence. I hope that makes sense to everybody. But no, there's a lot of Christians in America here, and I love every one of them. And I do go to church, and I do pray with them. So I just wanted to bring that up, and I always fight for my Christian brothers. What I mean?
I'll be honest, Don. We've had problems. Northern Ireland, Scotland. We've got there's a
another point. You're Protestant, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. And we know the Protestants and the Irish Catholics. They didn't get along.
Yeah.
But I don't like for me, my grandfather who came from Sweden is Protestant, but my grandmother who came from Ireland was Catholic. But they ended up getting married, and there I am. So when two worlds come together, good things happen.
Yeah, but the point is, mate, we're all Christians. Protestant, Catholic, it doesn't make a difference. We're all Christians, you know what I mean? And people are starting to realize that over here. We are starting to see Protestants and Catholics come together, and Republicans and loyalists starting to speak. You know what I mean? Because I think at the minute, the way we're seeing in England, it's just been on the news, our churches are in decline. Labour give them £111 million. Labour give for all the mosques. So the mosques there's I think there's
Excuse me. Sorry, that was a good one.
Sorry, in Luton. In Luton, I think there's about 30 mosques. And it's not about all that. But the problem is I am a Christian. I love my religion, and I feel we're losing our churches. We're losing our churches.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, though.
And I think
we gotta. Well, let me bring up another great point that the rest of the world doesn't know about this, but I'm going to tell you what's been coming on our news. It's been known that the Biden administration the past 4 years has been locking up the biggest amount of Christians in the history's country, and most of them being elderly women, specifically for standing across the street of abortion clinics peacefully, quietly praying.
We've got one as well.
Yeah, so the Biden administration has attacked Christianity more so than any president in United States history, and luckily President Trump just pardoned 23 pro-life grandmothers that were in federal prison because of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So there's a war on Christianity, and we can't let that happen. Because, like I said, I might be a Norse heathen. Ode may be who I look to when I need to be violent and to defend myself or protect others from those who, can't protect themselves.
Yeah.
But I still pray to Jesus. All my family goes to church, my grandmothers, man, woo, man, they love Jesus. That's all they talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
God, Jesus, you know.
We've got preachers being arrested on the street for preaching. You know,
Yeah,
that's where
it's horrible.
we've
That
got
that that.
we go ahead, Don.
I said this is what these governments have come down to. We're going to arrest Christians for praying. Like
Yeah,
seriously, who are these
yeah.
people doing these things? Who's making these decisions?
Because they're
Like
saying
these people must be antichrists. Like I say, like we say about the Democrats here in America that go after and attack Christianity. They got to be the antichrist. Those are the devils in human form that God talks
yeah,
about. Jesus talks
yeah, yeah,
about.
yeah. But
You know.
a lot of people think that we're coming to the end, and a lot of Christians believe that Jesus is coming back very soon. Just because of
Yeah.
the way the world's going, and like in a way, I can understand it
And
because
the
when
sign,
you look,
but if you read, when I went to high school, I went to a high school. It was called Matnon High School, and it was a Catholic high school. So
yeah,
they had priests and nuns teaching us, and
yeah,
we had a class called theology. And in theology, we had to read the Bible and learn about it. We had to read the Quran and learn about it. We had to read the Torah and learn about it. You know what I mean? So like if you read, like especially with the Bible, it's like it's when it comes to Armageddon, it's like you can kind of see the signs.
yeah,
Just like with my belief, when it comes to Ragnarok, I can kind of see the
yeah.
signs.
Well,
You know,
but the signs that
it's
I'm
like
seeing,
almost a prophecy.
is all the pop stars, all the Hollywood stars. Like it's getting like in America, all of them are doing devil signs, wearing crosses upside
Oh,
down. It's enough.
perverts.
Like we've got a guy over here called Sam Smith dressing up as a devil. They're all like doing devil worship and stuff, and there's that it's I don't know her name. It's Betsy or some. She was wearing a cross upside down. I mean, this is an attack on our
Yeah,
religion. This is a direct attack.
it is.
There's no two ways about it.
I mean, look at like even here in America with the Hollywood, I call them the Hollywood lunatics
Yeah,
because that's exactly what they are,
yeah,
lunatics.
yeah.
Yeah, they're all antichrist. You see it. They do all this devil ritual type shit in their concerts and on stage for
They think they
performances.
think they think they're there. They think they got where they got because they sold their soul to the devil, and then they believe that. They actually believe that. You know what I mean? They do.
Yeah. Well,
Huh.
what I say to that is, we all gotta meet our maker someday, and I don't think they're gonna be too
Yeah,
happy when
that's
that
it.
day comes.
Yeah, I know that. I know. You know what I mean?
Because
It's like,
honestly,
um,
like like religion for me, it's more about morals, how to live, how to be a better person, how to honor myself and my family and my friends and my community, how to self-sacrifice for those I love
yeah,
and care about, and for those who are helpless. Like I always
yeah,
say, like I got to defend the helpless and those who can't defend themselves against evil. Even
yeah,
and I give an example. Like if I was in a mall and some lunatic started shooting at everybody, guess what? I'm running towards that lunatic to do what I can do to stop this
yeah,
for these
yeah, yeah.
defenseless people, whether I get killed or not. Like, and my family's well aware, like, of my beliefs and how I think. And I tell them, like, if that ever happened, like, yo, just honor me. Like, don't be
Yeah,
sad.
yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah.
honor me because that's the person I am, and make sure you party hard.
Do you do you think there's going to be another attack on America because of all the deportations?
Honestly, with all well, right now we know the Biden administration let in over 800 known terrorists from the terrorist watch list from countries like Afghanistan,
Iran,
Syria.
Iran.
Yep, yep. So we don't know where these people are in our country. So of course, I think it's inevitable. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of when. Like it's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when at this point. Unless Donald Trump's, federal law enforcement are good enough to find these people first.
yeah.
We just gotta, it's one of those things. You just gotta
So
wait and see and hope it doesn't. Expect the worst and hope for the best.
I've got a question for you because you're quite versed with all this with Russia and everything. So you know that Britain's played a big part in attacking Russia by
Yeah.
using these missiles. They know they're British missiles, and it was British soldiers that fired them because they can't. Nobody else can do it. They wouldn't let that technology. They wouldn't give that technology to the Ukrainians. We know
Well,
that.
that's like
Do you
with the
think?
Americans too.
Yeah, but do you think We have Britain's missiles, if they're actually hit Russia. Do you think he's going to? Retaliate?
No,
And what do you
not now. Donald Trump's president. Putin ain't gonna do nothing.
think?
See, here's the thing. Like when Donald Trump was first elected, one of the first things he told Putin, and he said this himself in an interview with Putin. Donald Trump pretty much. Putin said Donald Trump is a fucking maniac.
Yep.
He said Donald Trump's a maniac, and he's unpredictable, and he doesn't want to do anything because Donald Trump will act. He ain't like the rest of the American presidents who talk. And also, when Donald Trump first became president, he sent the leader of the Taliban a picture of his house and said, "Talk within the next 4 years. This is a picture of your house. Just know we will level it." And that's why the Taliban came to the table to talk about negotiations to end the war. And they were Trump had negotiations set in with very strict sanctions and demands. So when Biden got in, he took away all those the demands and shit Trump had on and just pulled out. It was a fiasco. Talk about the most disgraceful day in the United States history is when Biden surrendered Afghanistan in the way he did too. And then 13 American Marines were killed by a suicide bomber. And the Biden administration still hasn't talked to these poor kids' families.
Yeah. So who do you think the biggest threat then to America?
The
China
biggest threat to the
Iran?
America? No, as country-wise?
Yeah.
I don't think any, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they could try, but they're going to regret it, That's just me as an American, like, home of the brave, like, I mean, you got to understand, we were raised off of a bunch of farmers who said, fuck it, we're going to fight the biggest army in the world called the British, and, that's who we're bred, we're born to fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can't be from a bunch of peasants and farmers who said, "Hey, we're crazy enough and drunk enough," and mostly they were drunk enough to go up against the biggest army in the world back then, was the British Army and Navy. Because a lot of people don't understand with the American Revolution, it mostly started in pubs over alcohol. Because they'd get drunk, they'd rouse themselves up. Rebel rouses is what they called.
Yeah.
So a lot of recruiting for the Continental Army and the militias came out of taverns and pubs.
Right.
And another big fact that a lot of people don't talk about. When we talk about the Boston Tea Party, which is 6 miles from my house, they say, oh, they were mad about the tea tax, so they went to the ships to dump the tea overboard. That wasn't the case. They were mad about the molasses tax. So they went to the ships because they were going to steal all the molasses. But when they got on the ships, there was no molasses, just tea. And that was useless, so they dumped it overboard. But they were mad about the molasses tax because back in those times, molasses was like a big product. It was used for a lot of things, including the alcohol. So once their main ingredient of their alcohol was getting threatened, of course they're going to get up in arms.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of truth. But the biggest threat to America right now is from within our own shores, and that's these bureaucrats, these unelected bureaucrats, these liberal fascists, like Marxist type ideology. Like, I don't understand, like, where these people think it's cool to be progressive. Like, we got this one congresswoman, Ilya Omar. She was implant from Somalia, and all she does is speak on the House floor. Oh, America sucks. America's this. Oh, no. America's bad. Blah, blah, blah. Well, why are you here?
Yeah.
America's so bad. Why don't you go back to Somalia?
We get that. We get that a lot. It's like, it comes across as a hatred. It comes across as a hatred for Britain. And these are British people. It's almost like I can't get my head around it. I really can't get my head around it. Like, we've got, like I say, I can't get my head around that our government has allowed so many children, because it's not just the children, mate. You got to think that, like, most of them, like back in the 60s and 70s, they were children from children's homes that were targeted.
But it stays with them for the rest of their lives, and it ruins them for the rest.
Yeah, and
They
these
can never
kids,
get over that. But,
these kids. This is the thing, Dan. Because I was in the children's home, I know how vulnerable these kids are. I was one of them kids, so I know how vulnerable they were. They were looking for love. They were looking for attention, and the thing that they found was horrific, mate. Like I can't tell you on here what was done to some of them girls. Well,
nah, yeah, we'll get.
yeah, but
I read some of the reports.
yeah,
Like that's the thing. Like Tim Pool, like he has a podcast on YouTube here in the United States,
I
8
watched it. I
p.m.
watched
to
it.
10 p.m.
Yeah,
Yeah, so like he's been like he hasn't talked about it like specifically on YouTube, so he doesn't get demonetized. But
yeah,
on his X account, he'll be posting all the paperwork about the horrific things that like something getting stuffed up something and then blown up, so they could take more things of it. Like that was just if you know what I'm getting at.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know you got the beehole, and then they something was getting up the beehole to like a pump,
Yeah.
just so
But
they could
yeah, there's
get more.
worse. There's worse than that. This is the thing, Dan. So, as you know, I've been doing this, like following Tommy and doing the grooming gangs, as much as we could on
Yeah, for
Facebook.
quite a long time.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
quite a,
I
yeah. So
quite a
I
long
know
time.
the stuff that happened years ago, 10 years ago, was more horrific than what's happened in the day. You understand? It's
And you
like
know what? You know why? It could because they could get away with it 10 years ago. Now with social media and cameras everywhere,
yeah,
it's harder. It's harder to get away with.
yeah, but they are getting away with it because they did get
That's
away with
true.
it, and they probably still will. Obviously, if you've got thousands and thousands of young men full of testosterone wanting to have sex, and if the local women don't want to have sex with them, what are they going to do? We know what they're going to do.
Yeah,
We know what they're doing. It doesn't.
yeah.
Tommy says it's like
I mean,
mixing oil and water. It's like mixing oil and water. It's not working.
it's
You
true.
know.
No, and that's the problem. Like these young men with testosterone, they need to do like actual physical activities, like sports and shit, because that would fucking calm that down a lot.
Yeah,
But
yeah, but
instead, they're just hanging out on the block. They're just chilling out on the block with their homies. They're getting all worked up because they're not releasing all that.
you know what they're doing right now? This is what they're doing
You know
right
what I
now.
mean?
They're hanging about parks. They're taking videos of children. There's a video on X and I don't know who he is. He's from a foreign country, taking a video of a little girl at a beach. There's reports on the news and online today and yesterday where they're hanging about outside schools, taking videos, and
See now in America, see well, that's the good thing here in America. If they were doing that to the schools in America, at least our police would be like, oh hell no, like you ain't doing that. They would go and
like,
actually do something
Don,
about it. But
Don,
your police ain't. That's what I
listen,
don't understand.
the police they done a report and they basically said there was no evidence, there was no crimes committed, and there's nothing to see here. Go walk on, you
We
know what I
call
mean?
that sweeping it under the rug.
Yeah, but this is what they've been doing. There was situations over here where policemen were at a car with guys who had a child, and they just made a joke and they drove off and left the child to get abused. There's evidence over and over again where police officers, social workers turned a blind eye and let.
Yeah, well then that's the thing. Like that's what bothers me the most. It's like I can't wrap my head around it. Like how do these fucking cops and politicians sleep at night knowing what they're
This is
allowing
what's happening.
morally?
I'll explain to you what's happening. I'll explain to you what's happening. So you got to understand, these girls are from broken homes, broken families, drug addiction, alcohol, mothers, fathers who have died. These
Yeah,
are the
yeah,
these are the most vulnerable children. And just like
yes,
you, last
vulnerable.
year, we were problem kids. So these kids were problems anyway. These kids were being arrested by the police for underage drinking, causing problems themselves.
And then they get exploited.
Yeah.
And then they get
So
exploited because
yeah,
they're looking for a place.
yeah.
They're
Well,
looking to fit in. They get in with the wrong crowd.
yeah, yeah. The
Just like in
police.
America, it's the same here in America. Same thing. Vulnerable kids, broken homes, this and that. And they're the
Yeah,
kids that usually get involved with these pedophile rings because these pedophile rings, they'll come up to one of these vulnerable people and be like, they'll offer them the fucking world. Like, everything's fucking peaches and rainbows. You just come with me, you stick with me, you roll with me, and you'll have everything you want. And what happens? They get fucking sold into the sex trade.
You know, I honestly think
it's the same with gangs too, though. Like, it's the same reason why a lot of teenagers join the gangs, the street gangs. They you know, broken homes, drug dealing families, don't have any other outlets, you know, and they're looking for a place, looking for people to accept them. So of course, oh hey, come join our gang, we'll accept you. Oh, by the way, you got to go murder that person, and if you don't, then we'll murder you. You know.
Yeah. Well, we've got all sorts of gangs. We've got Somalians, we've got Eritreans.
They're the worst.
And
They're the worst.
Oh,
we got Somalians here. Yo, if you go to Dearborn, Michigan, yo, it's overran with Somalians. Like, you can't even go there. Like, I'll go there because, like, I'm hoping my motherfucker will try. But for a normal citizen that's kind of got their screws on loose like me, they won't go there.
Yeah. In Ireland.
But me, I got a couple of screws, so I'll go wherever.
Ireland's really bad right now. See what they were doing with the buses? That's what they're doing in Ireland, you know. And there was I think they busted in about 200 to 300 asylum seekers, refugees in a village with only like 60 people in the village. So the people came out to protest. The Irish police, the Garda, they call the Irish police, the Garda, with rat gear on, pushed the civilians back. You know, it's like that's bad, man. It's bad. Like,
that's like a town. That was like a big news story here. With like it was a town called I skipped the name of it, but it was in Ohio, and they only had like maybe 15,000 citizens living in this town, because you know American towns are pretty big because we're big. You know, we got a lot of assholes. But what the Biden administration did was ship in 25,000 illegals into this town, and what happened was the systems collapsed. The doctors, the hospitals collapsed, the school collapsed. You know, they couldn't sustain the influx of that many people at once.
Bro, our doctors now, that's called the NHS, and right, that's what we call that, right? And I promise you, it is crumbling under the weight of the population. We were struggling before we had this. We've had 1 million come into the country in the last year, and nothing.
We had 10 million.
Nothing.
10 million. Biden, and the 4 years of Biden, we had over 10 million come in. 10 million.
Okay,
imagine that.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do? Like, we can't barely even, you know, like, we're struggling ourselves finding housing and stuff. Like, what are we going to do with an extra 10 million people?
But this is another point.
That get put in front of the line.
This is another point. So we've got all these men coming over now. I've got, and I love every human being, and anybody that's in trouble, I would open my doors up to anybody.
I try to help.
Yeah.
Because I know what it's like to be running the streets. I know what it's like to come from that side of the track.
John, the thing is, these guys that are coming in are quite capable. They've just travelled through 7 or 8 countries to get here, so they're not vulnerable. There's nothing vulnerable.
Nope.
There's women and children.
Same thing here.
Women and children are doing
exactly what's going on there. Exactly, because that's exactly the big stake here. Why are these healthy age men coming through 8 or 9 different countries to come here? They're not vulnerable. They could have went to Brazil. They could have went to Mexico. There was 3 or 4 countries that would have taken them. But why are they coming here? Just like that. Just exactly what you explained. That's going on there is the same here.
Well,
and it makes you wonder who's really running all these globalist governments.
Yeah. We've got them. They're coming from France, Dan. They're coming from France.
What's wrong with France?
I know.
France is a great country.
I know.
Right?
It doesn't make any sense, does it? It's almost like, it is.
It's almost like it's done on purpose.
It is, mate. It is.
It's done on purpose.
I think when Vance, and I know it was a joke and all that, but I've done the math, right? I've looked at the population. I've looked at how many foreign nationals compared to British, and obviously Muslims as well. And I've done the math with the birth rates. We're not having children, mate. We aren't. We can't afford it. We can't afford to have children right now. Nobody can. It's too. The price of living is gone through the roof. But they will. They will keep having children, and it will.
They have
In
fucking children. They breed like rabbits. They don't just have one. They have like 5 or 6 to our like 1. You know what I mean? For every citizen that's having 1 or 2 kids, they're having like 4 or 5 or 6.
Travelers are the same. They have big families as well. And there's Irish. The Irish used to have big families. They were always, but it's all stopped. They don't. It's like even in Ireland, there's no. You're not getting the big families. There's nowhere. You used to get like 4 brothers and 3 sisters. Loads of families like that.
Yeah, not anymore. No, that's the thing. 'Cause like
Yeah,
growing up in America, like if you were an Irish family in America, you were having like 5 or 6 kids easy.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? And it ain't like that no more.
No,
It's a shame. But the big reason is because, like you said, we can't afford to do it. But the people, like, we can't afford to have 5, 6, 7 kids. But
no,
the people that the government's taking care of and giving everything to can, because they don't
yeah,
got to pay for it themselves like we do.
yeah,
The government pays us everything. Let's have 5 kids, no problem. Compared to us, like, shit, we even have 1 kid. Like, we got to work 2 jobs. You
yeah, yeah.
know?
So what they've started doing as well last week, they've started recruiting Nigerians to work in the prisons. And he like I'm not
Oh
kidding
yeah,
you.
that's gonna go well.
They're,
That
they're,
ain't
they're
gonna
coming
go
over.
well.
They're sleeping right here. They came over. Some of them are going straight up to prison and thinking they're going to get a bed in the prison. And some of them are camping in fields. Most of them are sleeping in their cars. They don't even have accommodation. Do you know what I mean? But
Oh
they're
man, yeah, exactly. It's like, what are you gonna do with like? Why are you bringing people here that
yeah,
have nowhere to go and no place?
but
They're better off in some
um,
other country or their own.
we our prisons, I reckon, are 50% mental health. PTSD, it's
Yeah,
another. Yeah, and without a doubt,
yeah,
guys in prison, they shouldn't be in prison. They should be getting help.
yes.
You know what I mean?
The help they need. That's like that's a big problem here in the United States too. A
Yeah,
lot of prison wardens are saying like, we're not mental institutions. We don't have the capabilities to handle a lot of these
yeah,
types of
yeah,
people. But yet the government wants to put them in jail instead of the proper facilities they need. But the
yeah,
problem is the United States government shut down all the insane asylums and mental institutions like back in the 90s because they
yeah,
said, oh, it was inhumane. Oh, it was
yeah,
inhumane.
yeah.
We just rather these people roam the streets homeless. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Rather than keep them in a facility where they can get the help and be watched and monitored.
But
Half-ass backwards.
the point I'm making, right? So my experience of prison and prison officers, um, there's a certain rapport. Sometimes not all prison officers are bad. Some prison officers were
No,
quite
there's
good.
a couple good
Like,
ones.
yeah, you could talk to them and you could maybe get something off your chest, and they would give you a bit of advice. Because they've lived in this country. They know how we are. The Nigerians don't know how we are. You can't bring people
No.
that don't know who we are and put them in situations where they're looking after vulnerable men and women.
Yeah,
That that's unacceptable.
exactly. It's a cultural thing.
Yeah,
The cultures just don't clash.
yeah,
It doesn't mix. Like oil and water, like Tommy says. Oil
yeah,
and
yeah.
water. They're
We've got the same.
trying to bring oil into water.
We've got the same problem with cars, like for our elderly. There's quite a lot of Nigerians and others doing the current side. And, our elderly are different. Our 60, 70, 80 year olds, they brought up in a different era. And I just don't think
Hey,
that's
Alan.
acceptable here. But the problem and over here, Dan, they say they're bringing these people over to do the jobs we won't do. But the reason we're not doing these jobs is because they're the lowest paid jobs. These people are cleaning up other people's feces and they get the lowest paid jobs. And that's why
Yeah.
they have to bring other people from other countries. And it's just not going to work. You know what I mean?
Well, well, eh, here in America. Hey, Alan, how are you? Here in America, it's funny because it's like when like the Democrats be like, well, who's gonna pick our fruit and who's gonna clean our bathrooms? And we'll make a joke saying like, hey, Democrats, you sound like you used to sound like when you had your slaves. Who's gonna pick your fruits and crops and who's gonna clean your bathrooms? The apple don't fall far from the tree for the Democrat Party. That's for sure. They might not see it as slavery, but it is indentured servants, and we
Yeah,
all know how the Irish were in America as indentured servants. They were slaves, no
yeah.
different.
See,
a lot of Irish got sold in America as servants and slaves.
yeah,
People don't know about that. Like, a lot of people want to talk about slavery in America like it was all black or
yeah, yeah,
Africans.
yeah,
But there was a lot of Irish slaves here in this country at one point too. And a lot of people don't want to talk about when it came to the Civil War. When the Civil War, if you look at all the Irish immigrants that fought in the Union Army, they outnumber any other nationality that fought in the Civil War, including on the Confederate side. It was more Irish against Irish during our Civil War than anything else.
yeah. I've heard that. I've heard that. But what was I saying? Like, so basically, we're getting, like I say, we're getting a million in a year. That's that's the figures that they're giving us. I think the figures are a lot
And
higher. You know, they're not.
yeah,
They're not
and,
giving us.
and for a small country like you guys are,
Yeah.
that's hard to sustain.
Oh, listen,
That's detrimental.
see if you come over for Tommy getting out, we'll show you some of the areas. If you come over for a week or 2 weeks, you'll be shocked.
That's if they let me in the country.
I know.
My luck, I'll win, and they'll be like, nah, you gotta go. You can't come in our country. Although
Well,
I will be on my best behavior.
Don, you will get stopped. You are going to get stopped coming in. You know, they will stop you, like, you know what I mean. But that's part of
I'm used to it though.
Yeah, that's
I mean, I'm used to it,
but
I ain't worried. What are they gonna do? Ask me questions?
Yeah.
I'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Where you going?
I'm here to sightsee.
But the thing
I'm
that's
here to
going
see
on
some
over here,
traffic.
see at the same time that all the problems that we've got, at the same time, Labour have put the taxes right up. They've took like I'm not going to go into all the details, but they've really fucked a lot of people over. A lot. So a lot of
Yeah.
they're saying we're losing a millionaire every minute. This is what they're saying. A millionaire every minute. There's proof that the doctors. When I was in the hospital having me lucky, I'm talking a midwife. 10 years she's been a midwife. Absolutely amazing. Maybe about she was in her 30s. Absolutely amazing midwife. She was leaving for Australia. Spoke to another nurse leaving for America. They're all leaving.
Huh. Yeah. But
There's no
they're sucking
really
up
no
your
money.
resources first.
What's that?
Well, that's what's going on. That's a big problem in America. Is like all the illegals are getting all this health care at the hospitals, but nobody's paying the hospitals. So, what's going to happen? They either got to shut down because they're broke, or they got to put that financial burden on the rest of us that do pay
Well,
our health insurance and things.
I done the math. We've got a thing called universal credit, and it's like your social where you get a if you're not working, you give you money.
That's like the Chinese. That's what the Chinese government has. Yeah, we're trying not to have nothing like that here.
So,
Nothing universal. Nothing.
Yeah, but the thing is, I worked it out. It's costing the British government and the British taxpayers $1.5 billion a month just on unit.
How do you sustain that?
Mate, I don't know. We've give 50 million to Syria. We've give 111 million to the mosque. We've give I don't know how many billion to Ukraine. We're taking money from our elderly. Honestly, mate, you can't make it up. This country is going down.
Thankfully.
I swear to God, they're just destroying the country. And I promise you that-
Exactly. And that's the thing I say. The politicians that are doing this, I don't like. None of them want to answer the question. How is this going to be sustained? How is all this spending going to be sustained? They don't want to. They don't want to ask that question because they ain't going to get an answer first off. And these politicians know, like, well, I'm rich. Like, doesn't matter what happens to the peasants. I still got my money. You know what I mean? Like, we don't care if these peasants have nothing.
That's happening in Ireland. There's a lot of people making a lot of money in Ireland right now, but we'll see how that goes. But it's like the main people that are suffering, mate, are the most vulnerable people in this country are suffering right now because of there's a lot
being done about it.
No.
Nothing's being done. Nobody wants to address it from government. Nobody from government wants to come up with a solution for it. They all want to put their heads in the sand like it ain't happening, but it's happening. And eventually, they're going to have to, do something about it. Or, like I said, people are going to be outraged to the point where there is going to be mass protests. It is going to be overwhelming, and the government can only arrest so many people before they can't. Like,
but that's the
nobody
point.
wants it to get to that point. Exactly, nobody wants it to that point. We just want things to get better.
They're just going to arrest anybody at protest, anybody at I mean, the freedom of speech is like we're losing our freedom of speech
Oh,
every
oh,
month
I
or
feel
something.
bad for you guys over
You
there.
know,
You can't even post on Facebook without the fear of
yeah,
getting arrested.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Like,
That's insane.
I do videos on TikTok talking facts, just facts of exactly what's going on, and they get taken down. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm due to get banned on
God
TikTok,
forbid.
and I haven't done nothing but tell the truth. That's all I've done.
Exactly, but what? That's the other question. Why are they so adamant about hiding the truth? What's the big gain and goal for these people to have to hide something so horrific like this that's going on and
Well,
silence people like us that talk about it?
but it's a weapon.
That's what I can't.
It's a weapon. Silencing people is a weapon. As long as we're silenced, they can keep doing what they want. You understand?
Oh
It's like a
yeah, it's
smother.
classic. It's called psychological warfare, and that's exactly
Yeah,
what it is. We're gonna silence them. We're gonna fucking invade their homelands with all these people that just don't don't get along and don't clash, and just cultural differences are just
yeah,
too far.
yeah,
We're gonna do it anyway because in their mind it's psychological warfare because what they want to do is mentally break us, break
yeah.
our will till we just give up and just be little sheeple
So
and go
people,
along with it.
people
But
are getting up.
we don't do
A lot
that.
of a lot of people are leaving. A lot of people are leaving. A lot of people are scared. Um, it's because when you try and speak out, you do get silenced, and a lot of people are worried of going to prison. There's a lot of YouTubers quite nervous. It isn't a nice place to
And
live
that's
anymore.
understandable because it's understandable for him because, like, even the past 4 years under the Biden regime, is what I call it. Same thing. Like, if you're a right wing conservative or and had any type of voice or platform,
Yeah,
they were going back to the good old. You show me that man, and we'll find the crime against these
yeah,
people.
yeah,
That's some like Stalin type shit.
yeah,
You bring me the man, we'll give you the crime he committed. And that's like the Biden regime that has been, in America, it's like, yo, you're innocent until proven guilty in a regime. It's like, you're guilty. Prove your innocence in the court of law. Good luck, because
yeah,
corrupt judges and DAs ain't going to allow that.
yeah. See, that's
It's crazy.
the same bro. The same over here. The judges are control. There's no two ways about it. There are no individual judges.
There's no such thing as fair bias. They're biased now. They can't. I've always looked at a judge as honorable up until I seen what they've been doing in the past few years. You people are as corrupt as anybody else. Like you're not honorable, nothing. Like and what I say to these judges, you know what? You'll have your day of judgment, and when you get there, I hope you don't. Your higher power is gonna fucking probably shit on you. Like you're not
Yeah,
gonna like it. Like you may think you got the upper hand now in life, but this isn't the only thing. Like after life, we have a whole another lifetime of eternity in
mhm,
heaven, or wherever I'm going, Valhalla, or so forth, and so on. And these people don't get it. They think, oh, life is life. But then again, these people don't fear God because they're not godly people. So in their
yeah,
minds, oh, once I die, that's it. It's eternity and blackness.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
don't think about that
Well,
other aspect of it.
listen, it's not. It's like the information's there for everybody. You can either be good or you can be bad. It's no rocket science. Like some of my followers are atheists, but at the same time, I always say to them, "You're a good person, whether you're an atheist or
Yeah,
not. You came into this planet and you decided to be a good person. You know, it's, they're walking in God's path and they don't even know it. That's why I always say, you know what I mean. But like,
yeah.
what's
That's the
going on?
truth.
Yeah, what's going on in America right now is giving us a bit of hope. But the problem
Well,
is, I
that's what I say. I say honestly, I think Donald Trump not just saved the country. I think he's about to save the whole world from this lunacy that's been going on. Honestly, because if Kamala Harris won, we would have been, the
oh,
whole world would have been done for.
oh,
The whole
honestly,
world, every country would have been done. You thought it was bad now, it would have been fucking worse.
yeah, that was bad, man. It was close, not close, like, but the thought of her, because I thought they were going to cheat. I thought they
Oh,
were going
it's
to cheat. I
nauseating.
reckon they did cheat, but too many people came out. Too many voters came out for Trump. You know what I mean? So even if they did cheat,
Oh, too many of us. And here's the thing, like, the Democrats don't want to mention this on the media, but I'm going to break it down. Donald Trump won in these demographics. He won the Hispanic and Latino vote. He won the Muslim vote. He won the women vote, and he won, the popular vote. 4 demographics. He also won the African American vote. He won the Jewish American vote. So he won with all these different nationalities and religious groups in their vote. Like, what's that tell you? A lot of people are getting sick because, like, a lot of Muslims in America are sick of it too. Like, they're like, we're sick. Like, we're getting sick of being like looked at because of these fucking, dirty assholes that call themselves Muslims.
We've got,
so like a lot of
we do have Muslims now talking up and talking out. There's a girl, and she was I'll send you a link to her channel, and she was asking for help.
absolutely.
She came on and asked for help. Her children were being indoctrinated in the school. Other Muslim kids were like pushing them towards like extreme Islam. All the rules that they
Yeah.
have. And
Yeah.
I speak to a lot of Muslims, and quite a lot of them are quite scared of what's going on because they are worried that these
Yeah.
extremists
Because
are going to take over. And a lot of Muslims
yeah.
have been here to get away from that extremism. You know what I mean?
Well, we understand because
We've got
like
50
we
Sharia.
understand when
Go ahead. No,
like we understand when the extremists take over, they're putting their boot on everybody's neck, including their fellow Muslims
yeah,
who don't fucking fall in line.
yeah.
And that's what they're scared of.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
But it's good. Like,
yeah.
but honestly, like since Donald Trump has been elected, like it's just been like a big old big weight just lifted off my shoulders. Like
I'm
like
so happy.
you think of the old remember the old cartoons where they'd have the little town in the cartoon and it was covered with black rain clouds for like decades. Then all of a sudden the prince comes in and the clouds part and it gets lit up and all sunny and the flowers come back and that's how it feels like here. Like the dark cloud's gone and everything's just bright. Like it's like a whole new beginning. Like I'm still like in shock. Like I still don't even believe it. Like I gotta still pinch myself sometimes. Like you really won. Like holy shit. Like I think we're safe at least for the next 4 years.
Well, in the next 4 years, 100. If there was election tomorrow, they'd be gone. Anytime there'd be an election, Labour are finished. I mean, finished. I know for a fact Labour will never get in the power unless they keep bringing in illegals and then they give them citizenship and let them vote. That could be a problem.
That's what they were trying to do here, and that's what a lot of states here in the United States was trying to do with illegals. Oh well, they should have the right to vote. Oh no, not against our Constitution. They don't. They ain't no. Oh well, maybe in just local elections. Oh no, no, they try to weasel it any way they can. Oh well, let them vote. Let them vote in just town elections. No, none. And then they're like, oh well, we should give them driver's licenses. Why? Because once you get a driver's license in the United States, you pretty much already registered to vote, through that. So, okay, let's give them driver's licenses knowing that's going to automatically register them to vote illegally.
Yeah.
Nah. No, that's why voter integrity is like a big issue here in the United States.
Yeah, we've got issues. We've got issues right now with the voting. I haven't looked into it, but it's something similar where I don't think they're gonna. You don't need ID or something like that. Some fucking. Man, it's not looking
Some
good.
Loopholes. No.
I'm worried. I'm worried that I don't think Labour are going to give it up. I really.
No,
I
they
think.
won't. No, that's the problem. People like Labour Party was like the elite Democrats here. They only really care about their power and nothing more, and they're not going to give it up without a fight. I mean, look at what they did to Donald Trump when they thought they were going to lose their power. They did everything upside, left and right, and 7 ways to Sunday to get this guy out of politics, including fake charges. They even tried to shoot him in the face and they hit him in the air. Thank God. Thank God, because you know what? How close were we to just losing it all with that one single shot to President Trump's ear? Just centimeters left or right, that would have went straight through his face, and we wouldn't be sitting here right now talking.
No.
We'd be devastated. Like
Well,
we'd be fucked.
if Karma, if she had got in, we wouldn't be sitting here talking because we wouldn't have any platforms. That would be it.
Nothing. We'd be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember that day. I just got off the road from work, and I just happened to show up at my buddy's house because we were going to watch the UFC fights later on that night. But he had the Trump rally on when he was in Pennsylvania, and we were sitting there watching it. And all of a sudden, we had pat, 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 and we see Trump. Like we both looked at each other, like, "What the fuck was that? Like, what just happened right now? Like, is this a joke? Like, was that a paintball gun? Because like on TV, it sounded like a paintball gun.
Oh, pop.
Yeah, it did sound like an actual rifle, but it sounded like a paintball gun because of where like the camera and like then like Trump went down and like we were sitting there like holy shit, like just what happened? Like is he dead? Like we didn't know because he's still on the ground.
Right.
And then he got up like fight. Yo, me and my buddy jumped out of our chairs like yeah.
You know
like maniacs.
See, the shooter was he was connected.
The kid.
He was connected.
Yeah, there's a lot more about that's going to come out now that the Department of Justice is controlled by Donald Trump.
Yeah,
a lot of shit's going to come out now. A lot of truths are going to come out now, like who assassinated John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert, who assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. and why. All those things that held from us, the American people, for so long. So Trump just signed an executive order to declassify and release everything about that. Yeah. We're going to know right now if our government had a hand in any of these assassinations. And that's what the deep state was so scared of. Like they were trying to like threaten them. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, national security. If you release this thing, national security. Blah blah blah. It's like no, it has nothing to do with national security, but instead national embarrassment. Because if government agencies were involved, that's not going to be a good look. And the American people will be outraged to find that out.
There's going to be convictions. They're going to be they're going to put these people in prison.
Probably, most likely not, because probably 99% of these people have already passed away since.
Right.
But that doesn't matter. That's fine. They can be dead already, but now we at least know the truth. And that's just, now we can question, government institutions even more and put them on notice even more about how long have you been lying to us? How long have you been withholding information from us? What type of information? How serious of information? And you know what? Maybe Donald Trump should, just expand these agencies or just take them out of Washington, D.C. and put them up in a remote corner of Alaska to have a headquarters. See how they like it up there.
Yeah, well,
and that's the problem. Like you got all these agencies like the FBI, CIA, all these agencies that have too much power concentrated in Washington, D.C., and that's when they all become, cahoots with each other and friends with each other and back each other. So I think Trump should just start dispersing these institutions all throughout the country. Like the FBI building, you guys are in Alaska now. You know what I mean? Have fun working out of Alaska. Like the CIA, you guys can go in the middle of nowhere, Iowa. Have fun out there. They gotta get all these entities out of a single area of DC. And that decentralizes their power a lot more. But
we had
we'll see.
See the guy that scumbag had done in the Southport, the wee girls. He was we have this I don't know, like an organization. It's called Prevent, right? It's called Prevent, and they target people who they are getting.
Yes, John, I can see. John, I can see the comments.
I can't see any comments.
Yeah, I can see them. Yeah, Mark can't see the comments.
Mark can't see any comments, but I'm going to do another live tomorrow night just to catch up with my followers,
Yeah, let me send me an invite. I'm always down to join you. I'm always down to talk to the good people here. My brothers across the pond, as I like to say.
Yeah, we are. This is the thing, I'll be honest with you, we need you right now. There's every one of my followers. Tell you that,
we know, and that's the thing. I just want everybody over there to know, we over here are starting to speak out a lot more for you people over there, and and it's good because a lot of right wing, people with a lot of fan base and clout are starting to talk about it a lot more and bring it up a lot more. And so as long as we keep doing that, eventually, our voice is going to be heard.
Well, see, this prevent organization was made to target people that were becoming radical in Islam and try and stop them doing anything and going to following the Quran a certain way. But they ended that guy was thingy to him 3 times, and they went, "Nah, he's all right." But know what they're doing? They're targeting right wing. They're targeting right wing politicians and right wing. I've now spoke and seen a couple of videos of guys that are like they were on the
Horrible.
knee. They were on the knee. And these guys are just normal
Yeah.
guys like me. They're just like me. They love their country. They love their religion.
Yeah.
They love
And
their
they're getting
culture.
arrested.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask a question. Now, I remember I had a huge argument once, like years ago, with a Muslim over there named Amdim Chowdy,
Yeah.
I think his name was.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, who is he, and what's his situation nowadays? Because I remember I gave it to that motherfucker good.
Yeah, he was basically.
Oh, yeah.
He was basically like I think he was like a commander. You know what I mean? It was more. He was more militant. You know what I mean? He was extreme and recruiting, sending stuff here.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, because I remember one time I was arguing with him on Facebook, and he's like, "I don't care if you're in America, I can still get you." And I was just like, "Bring your fucking goats with you, because you're gonna need them."
I think he's got about 20 years. He's got about 20 years. He's in the jail over here at the minute.
Oh, no shit, huh? So it caught up to him.
Yeah. I think he's in the jail, right? Yeah. But this
So
is
the
the
truth
problem.
of who he was caught up to him.
Don, that's the problem.
Which
But
makes me.
they're in the jail. It's like a camp.
Yeah.
It's like an army camp for them.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah, they
militarized.
just radicalize each other.
Yeah.
They recruit and radicalize in jail.
Yeah. That the reports that we're getting, like, it is proper. Like, they have got a hierarchy, like a command structure. Proper. Yeah, and it's just like
Just like
Northern
any
Ireland.
prison gang. Yeah, just like any
Yeah.
prison gang, you got you got your command, you got your officers, your soldiers, your members. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
it doesn't make sense why the prison system are allowing it. They're allowing it. They should be breaking ringleaders up, and that's what they should be doing. I mean, they should be targeting them. Okay, they should be deporting them, mate.
Thank you, William.
They should be getting deported, bro. But they're no getting. There's guys that are committing horrific crimes over here, mate, and some of them are only in the country 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they're getting
crazy.
and they're just getting.
And then they're leaving.
Yeah, but no, they go into prison, and so what happens? They go into prison. They get a couple of years, and the prisons are fucking so easy, mate. We've got PlayStations, jars in our cells, toilets in our cells.
No shit.
Yeah, TVs, Xboxes, movie
Oh
channels,
man.
sports channels, mate. As I walk in the park, mobile phones, any drug you want. And
Wow.
the thing is, when they go into prison, when they get out, they've got to be housed. They're no deport. That's what I'm saying. They're housing them. They're putting them in areas, and the areas that they're putting them in the working class areas. They're going into the most vulnerable areas, and so you can see what's going on.
And that's what they're doing. They're putting them in the areas where people are vulnerable. They're defenseless. They can't stick up for themselves, and they become victims.
We've got some really poverty-stricken areas. Some of our working class areas, the towns that used to be vibrant are all shut. Like, we've got some really nice old-fashioned towns, and they're ghost towns now. Because nobody's going out.
You can't go there. Yeah.
Nobody's going out.
You can't enjoy the history of it. Yeah, because you don't want to be a crime victim.
If you've got guys walking about like predators, people are scared. They're like the young guys. They're getting in the fights and intimidating people, and certain areas our girls couldn't walk into, and they were totally covered. You know what I mean? It is that. Like I think there's like 50 Sharia courts in Britain.
That's ridiculous.
I know.
Imagine women not being allowed or feel safe to be able to walk around a town that's supposedly in a free country.
But see, the Sharia courts are all elders. They're all men. So Like if
Yeah, and they.
a woman goes to get help or to try and get away from an
Oh
abusive
no,
husband,
no. She's gonna
you know,
face a death sentence under the Sharia courts.
yeah,
That's that's bad for women.
yeah. I don't know enough
Oh,
about it. Like I say, mate, I've never been to Afghanistan or Pakistan. I don't know anything about their culture. It doesn't make any sense to me why they would come to Britain and not get involved with our culture. Why do they bring all their traditions with them? It doesn't make any sense why they're here doing
no.
that,
Well,
you know?
let me tell you a story. I was listening to a podcast once with a United States. I think he wasn't a Navy SEAL. He was a Green Beret, and he
Right.
was talking about one of his missions in Afghanistan.
Uh-huh.
He was sitting there saying like, yeah, we had an interpreter, an Afghan interpreter, and like the guy was funny as F-U-C-K, but in all seriousness, like one night we were just sitting there talking about the moon and how like Neil Armstrong and all them landed on it, and how like countries like a lot of countries send men to like the International Space Station, da 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 da.
Yeah,
And he said all of a sudden our Afghan interpreter looked at us and said, "You're lying." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Nobody can fit on the moon." And the Green Beret looked at him and said, "What are you talking about?" Like, so I guess the Afghan interpreter put his thumb up in the air. It says,
yeah,
"How can you fit somebody on something that's the size of your thumb?" And
yeah,
I guess all the guys started laughing at him because he's like, "You think the moon's actually the size of your thumb?" Like
yeah,
that's they educational wise, they never learned about like moon landings and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
space
yeah, yeah,
exploration because they live out in such remote areas when
yeah, 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 yeah.
nothing like no contact. So it's like and then they're bringing these people into civilized cultures, and like it's probably a shock to them because they're like, what the hell is all this stuff moving? Like what are all these cars? Like what's all this technology, computers and digital this, that, and the other thing. And of course, then again, like a lot of them get hopped up on testosterone and got nothing to do with it, and they don't got morals because they think it's there's nothing wrong with me just forcing myself upon a woman because in my country I might be able to get away with it, but you're not in your country no more,
Yeah,
and you can't do it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
if you're in somebody
Yeah,
else's, you got to
it's difficult.
respect those laws.
It's difficult, mate, because like every all my followers and like we're not we're just we love everybody. We accept everybody. Doesn't matter what color skin you are. Doesn't matter what religion you are.
Exactly.
But
Like Mark, you know my ex girlfriend. Like
yeah,
the ones who I say my kid. She
black.
was as black as night.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
black as night. Like she wasn't just black; she was black. Like like I said, her kids are still my kids. I
Yeah,
still
yeah.
talk and
No,
see them all the time.
see, it's not a it's not an issue. I would never anybody around me. I would never question whether they're racist or not because on those or not. That was in the 80s, Don. We had fucking stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's all changed. You know
that's
what I mean?
just like now.
We're the most
Like,
accepting country in the world, but we can't just keep taking people and let them keep
well,
doing
that's
this
the
to us.
problem. Like we can't. Like our worries are is we can't sustain
Yeah, we
this.
can't. Mate.
Like
No.
financially.
No, mate, it is bad. It's really bad. Like you can see that you can see the effect come down to the councils where the councils are having to cut back. Everywhere they're cutting back. Mate, we've got all the millionaires are leaving, so they're going to have a big drop in income tax, a big massive drop.
Yeah,
April, they're going to be stung bad. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do it. Trump, like Stormer's done nothing but bad mouth Trump, like really bad mouth. Called him a traitor, not a traitor, called him a Nazi. Uh, he wasn't welcome in Britain and all that. And now he's like
Huh.
obviously changed his tune. Do you think Trump will fucking? What can Trump do really? Like, what do you think?
Honestly, like he's not to be fucked with or played with. I can tell you that. Like I think Trump, pretty much. I think just speaking with people, they listen because they know he don't play around because he
Yeah,
does. Like Trump will threaten you, or Trump will threaten a foreign leader in the very nicest way possible. That foreign leader's like, oh crap, he just made me look foolish. You know what I mean? Like, and also Trump, he's got the power of the United States economy with him, and foreign aid and
yeah,
the military and everything else at his disposal. Like he can be like, hey, listen, like if you don't kind of go along with like how I politic, like maybe we'll cut like this foreign aid from you.
Yeah, yeah.
No government's gonna stand for that. Like, Donald Trump's gonna take $1 billion a year from us. Like, no, we better listen to him.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well,
like what he said, like Trump, man, he's a businessman. He's the best negotiator in the world. Like, let's take politics out of this. Donald Trump is the best negotiator in the world when it comes to business.
Yeah.
Think about that. He knows what to say. He knows how to speak. He knows what tone to use, what facial expressions to use, even down to how to posture up on people. He's a powerful man like that, and a lot of these world leaders, they ain't strong, so they bow to tough strengths like that.
Vance made a joke about Britain being the first Muslim country with the nuclear weapons. Did you hear that? Aye.
Yeah, I did. But is he joking though? Like, he's like pretty much he said if it keeps going the way it's going, like, is it a joke at the end of the day?
At the end of the day,
could it be a reality?
We're a democratic country, and we go by votes, and whoever wins the votes takes power. It's as simple as that, mate. So 30 or 40 years time, who's going to have the vote? That's when my daughter's 20 and 30. That's when you're going to see the big changes, especially if we get 40 years of non-stop more immigration coming. Because I think that's what Labour. I think they're just because they're coming in. They're not. Everybody's looking at the boats, the wee boats coming in from Dover and from Cali to Dover. But there's probably 10 times more coming in through visas, student visas.
Flying in.
Yeah, I'm flying in, coming in cars, but boats, not vans, coaches, and when they get here, they just ask for asylum and they get put straight into a hotel, but then they can bring their families over. It's hard to say, these people are clever enough. They're clever enough to get a visa.
Donald, to bring up to a point on that specific topic you just mentioned, Donald Trump just signed an executive order ending that. Like, no immigrants can no longer bring over their aunts and uncles and cousins and this supposedly cousin and this supposedly uncle, because beforehand that's how it was. Like, you can bring your wife's kids, uncles, grandparents, maybe your third uncle as well, especially from India. Like, it was very bad like that from people coming from India. And like, I mean, honestly, like the people from India ain't that too bad. The only problem with them is they just don't give a fuck about personal space. You know what I mean? I mean, most of them are funny as shit. Like anytime, like they pretty much own all our convenience stores as the Indians, and they're funny as fuck. Like, you go in there, like, and they laugh and they joke with you and shit. Like, yeah, they're funny people. Hey, buddy. I'm like, yo, what up? What up? You giving them daps and stuff. Yeah, like, they're like, we don't mind them. But
we got a big thing with Turkish hairdressers. They're everywhere. We have towns that the only shops that are open is the bookies and about 3 or 4 Turkish hairdressers. Every time we've got 2 like a mile away, and I've got another 3 a mile that way. All Turkish fabrics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All Turkish. Yeah. It's like like all the convenience stores are owned by the Indians. But like I said, when it comes to the Indians from India, it's like they're actually fucking funny. Like, they like to joke around. They're actually comedians. Like, they don't give a shit. Like, they're kind of like they're in line with like American conservative values. Like, we're business owners.
We've got Sikhs in the garage, and they have
I remember the Sheiks. I remember Sheiks being with the British military. Good people.
Yeah.
Fierce people too. Very fierce. Very devout and dedicated.
We don't want to stop. Like I said at the whole protest, like, we're not against refugees. You know what I mean? We're not against none of that. We want women and children or vulnerable men that are in countries that need our refuge. But we're not. These guys that are coming in illegally are taking the place of the people that should be coming here. You understand? Because there will be a limit when we will say that's enough, and then all these vulnerable people, women and children that need our refuge, won't get it because all these fighting age men have came and stole their place, And
Yeah,
that's
middle-aged strong men. Some of these men are freaking more stronger than I am. It's like, how are you vulnerable? Like, you're coming into the United States with Michael Jordan sneakers that I can't afford.
Yeah.
Good designer jeans and shirts. You know what I mean? But
Oh,
you're vulnerable. Like, you need to sell them here.
Okay. These guys are on the. They're economic immigrants. They're here just to get as much as they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to suck off us, suck off the taxpayers, break the system, leech off the system, and of course the politicians are like, here you go, take all our money. Oh, well, take all our money. Like, fuck the peasants, you guys can have our money.
Yeah.
You know, because that's how I refer to us. Like, when it comes to, like, you know, progressive style of governments, like over there, and like, the Democrats here, it's like, I refer to ourselves as peasants because to them we are peasants, and they treat us just like peasants, and they don't hide it.
The common thing being said right now by patriots is that we are second class now. It's like even the jobs in London, they're promoting jobs, and if you're white, you can't apply. I've never heard anything like that in my life, but that's coming out now. And even in the intelligence MI5, they're looking for foreigners. Just I understand that, but I do understand if they're going to be working against Al Qaeda and ISIS, they're going to need people like that. That's the way it works, isn't it, mate? You know what I mean?
But at the same sense, what we learned under the Obama administration when Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama decided, hey, we need to fund this faction of Al Qaeda to protect one of our embassies in Benghazi, Libya. So we're going to give this Al Qaeda faction money and arms to protect our embassy in Benghazi, Libya. Well, guess what happened? That Al Qaeda faction said, fuck you, Clinton and Obama. Now that we got your funding and arms, we attacked that embassy in Benghazi, Libya. And we just didn't attack it. We brutally murdered your ambassador and dragged them through the streets. Yeah. Well, you know what? A lot of people don't know about the attack on Benghazi and why it actually happened.
Is that Fallujah?
No, Benghazi. No, it was Benghazi, Libya, when Ambassador Stevens was killed and murdered. The faction, the boneheads that bonehead Obama funded and armed to protect them was an Al Qaeda faction, and they turned against the Obama administration over a disagreement, and because of it, they did what they did to the embassy. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that truth.
Yeah.
All because Obama and Secretary of State Clinton at the time wanted to put a huge oil pipeline from Libya all the way through Syria up into like whatever's north of Syria, and of course that's when the Syrian president said, "Oh no, you're not putting a pipeline through Syria," and guess what happened? Destabilization, civil war. Also with Egypt. The Egyptian government said, no, you're not putting a pipeline through Egypt. What happened? The summer of the Egyptian revolution. And then when Libya, Gaddafi said, no, you're not putting a pipeline through Libya, guess what happened?
Yeah.
The United States armed the terrorist factions, and they killed Gaddafi. I mean, yes, Gaddafi wasn't a very nice person, but at least Libya was stable when he was ruling.
No, the Middle East was stable. The Middle East was stable because of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And know Barack Obama? And when Barack Obama destabilized Egypt, who did he throw in there for the government? The Muslim Brotherhood. You know what I mean? Luckily for the guy in Syria, he put up a fight, and we know what happened to Gaddafi, all because of an oil pipeline.
We just give 50 million to Al Qaeda in Syria. 50 million our government.
Yeah, Biden administration too. Like, it's like that's treason under the laws of treason in the United States and the Constitution. It clearly states if you provide any financial, material, or physical aid, whether it's money or weapons, propaganda or finances, you're treasonous. Yeah. That's treason. You're providing
these men are responsible for killing British and American soldiers.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Provided by the money and guns our own government gave to them under treasonous acts.
Yeah.
That's what they don't want to talk about. These people in power think they're untouchable. They're above the law. These peasants can't do nothing to us. We can do whatever we want. And that's how they see us. And that's what I think a lot of us are really sick and tired of, not being heard. Our voices not being heard. That's what I think a lot of us are tired of.
Our voices are being heard tonight, but I'm going to wrap this up. That's 2 hours and 9 minutes. I just want to.
All right. Oh, no shit. Yeah.
I just want to say, we could sit here for hours, couldn't we? We could sit here for hours, but I mean, I got things to do, and I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. It's amazing.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime, my man. Anytime you want me here, my brother, I'll be on for you.
Yeah, we've talked about coming over.
Hey, I hope the baby and wife is doing well.
Brilliant. Honestly, the baby is absolutely perfect. Thank God.
Good.
Delivered an absolutely amazing baby. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm really, really grateful. Everything's all right. You know what I mean? Everybody's safe. That's the main thing. And all we're doing, me and my followers, we're going to get active. We're going to get online, get on the streets, and try and save what we can. If we can't save England, we're going to save Scotland and Ireland. And
I'm going to be over here forming a nice little army to help you guys out as well. Like, we're all going to speak up together. We're in this together. You might be over there, we might be over here, but we're all in this same fight together because the same stuff that's happening there is happening here. It's a globalist thing. Well, that's what we're in the trenches.
110%. I can guarantee every single. And guys, everybody that's on, will you please go to Dan's YouTube channel and give him a subscribe? I know there's not many, but if he can, go on his channel.
Anyone helps. And I also got an X account. I just forget what my name is at the moment.
I'll put the links up. So while I'm on
put the links up. I'm really active. I'm really active on my X account when it comes to the nitty gritty of like everything like we're pretty much talking about here. And I don't hold, and on X I don't hold back. Like it's like uncensored, like all day. like on YouTube I hold back.
The worst thing
on YouTube I hold back a lot, but
the worst
X
thing,
not.
The worst thing we can do is allow them to silence us. That's the worst thing we could. If they silence us, we're beat. We're beat.
Exactly.
They took Tommy Robinson off every platform, and he didn't have no way of replying of all the accusations.
Thank you, Alan. That's the thing. That's the worst. If we get silenced, we lose. And we don't just lose. We get shipped off to fucking gulags and prison camps and maybe executions because these people don't like us. They would rather us dead and not exist.
I don't think people realize how bad this Labour government are going to be. Like, we've got 4 years in this. 4 years we've got at this, man.
You got to buckle down, and we can just hope we can speak out enough that something changes. Exactly. The biggest thing is we cannot lose our voices, and we cannot afford not to be heard.
Yeah.
So we got to keep doing what we're doing over there and over here as well. Because like we speak out a lot about what's going over there because we see like if it's happening over there, it's just a matter of time it's coming here.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad that we've got thousands of men coming into this country and SN our young children. That's the saddest thing. I can't get my head around that, mate. That our government has allowed the trauma, the effect on the families or the people around these children. It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific.
Yeah. It's the most horrific civil rights violation when it comes to like psychological trauma.
Yeah.
And these people are like, oh well, we're gonna keep doing it. But hey, keep in touch with me. Next time you want me to come on live, I'm down for that all the time. I love everybody who was there. And next time I'll answer more comments. And thank you everybody for joining us. I appreciate you all. And I promise I'm going to stand tall and I'm going to fight my hardest for everybody. Like, that ain't even a joke. Like, I've been in this game for quite a few years and I ain't stepping out. And I'll be doing this until they take my last breath because you know what? It's give me free death. That's how I roll.
Yeah.
I love you all.
I love you too, man. I love everybody. Take care and God bless. God bless everybody. Good night. Good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.